It is 6 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson. Hello, everybody. Glad that you could join us on what is yet another steamy day. I've got 95 degrees in the nitty-gritty city, as it were. And, well, I don't know. We think we've hit our high yet today, or we got a little bit more left?
I'd say there's probably a chance it'll go up another notch.
I think we might. I'm going to say it'll probably hit 97. Of course, it's a moist heat, so there's that. I think we'll do our 2024 update today. We got a lot of stuff to cover. Of course, everybody is waiting with anticipation for the big debate that's going to happen on Thursday, and I'll give you all the details about how we're going to be covering it and how you can join us for that event. And the good news is that we learned yesterday that we were able to get clearance to carry the debate. We didn't think we were going to be able to, but, Paul Mason, our program director, he got on it and worked it all out somehow. I don't know. I'm not asking too many questions, but we will be carrying the debate on Thursday night after our event out at Hop Springs. More on that a little bit later. Let's talk about the election, as it were. I think everybody wants to know exactly how Trump is going to handle himself. And then the other question is, which Biden will show up? Will it be the Biden who, we saw at the State of the Union, who will yell angrily at everyone, or will it be this guy? I don't know which one it's going to be. If it's this guy, it's over. It's over. I mean, really, honestly, you can't stress enough how important this debate is. If Trump comes in, and I think he's just a little cooler than he usually is, just very reserved but very focused, and I think, well, I'll tell you who I think has the best idea. He's an old hand in Republican circles. He is a Republican consultant, and when you talk to Alex Castellanos, you're talking to a guy who knows how to put together a campaign. And he has some recommendations about how Trump should handle himself on that stage. And I think he's dead on. See if you agree.
Donald Trump has a tremendous advantage. He could resort to a strategy politicians seldom use these days, which is he could just tell the truth. Donald Trump's America was a lot better place than Joe Biden's America. Absolutely, I'd say when you drove it to 9%, you may not recall that our streets used to be safer. You may not remember that the Russians had enough respect for our country not to invade the Ukraine, but that was a better day for us. Stick with the issues that affect the American people and show that discipline that he's shown on the stump, and just some marvelous campaigning. We're seeing peak Trump now. No one can do what Donald Trump is doing on the stump, inspiring crowds, just managing the moment. It's almost like he's in the crowd's head. This is masterful campaigning. Make sure that guy shows up for the debate.
Yeah, but I love that idea. Well, Joe, you may not remember or you may not recall, what was like when I was president. But, I gave you 1.4% unemployment. And by the time, you got in office for a few months, it was all the way up to 9%. And, it's taken you all this time to get it back to down to 3%. But, when you may not recall, gas prices were 44% cheaper than they are at the moment. You may not recall. And by the way, every time you say you may not recall, it's a jab because, everybody knows he can't recall anything. That would be brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. The thing you got to watch out for is that Biden's people have come up with that one zinger. The one like Reagan came up with against Mondale. Everybody was talking about Reagan was too old. And then he delivered that zinger to Mondale. And Mondale, it was so good a zinger that Mondale, we need to pull that up. You know which one I'm talking about, Chris? See if you can find that real quick, because it really is, if he pulls a stunt like this, we need to be ready for it. But it was Mondale laughed. And I remember watching the debate with Reagan and Mondale. And when Mondale turned to him and laughed, I said right there, Reagan has won the election and Mondale has lost. Here it is.
Mr. Truitt, your question to President Reagan.
Mr. President, I want to raise an issue that I think has been lurking out there for 2 or 3 weeks and cast it specifically in national security terms. You already are the oldest president in history, and some of your staff say you were tired after your most recent encounter with Mr. Mondale. I recall yet that President Kennedy had to go for days on end with very little sleep during the Cuba Missile Crisis. Is there any doubt in your mind that you would be able to function in such circumstances?
Not at all, Mr. Truitt, and I want you to know that also I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I am not going to exploit for political purposes my opponent's youth and inexperience.
I mean, the exact line couldn't be used against Trump, clearly. But I mean, it was the thing that changed. It changed everything. I mean, everybody said, "Well, the Gipper's got it." And by the way, if you watch the video of this, the old clip of this, the Gipper stops, looks around, takes a sip of water. I mean, he milks the moment. It is just perfect Reagan. You got to be ready that the Biden people know that everybody has this belief about Biden, that he's old and he's over the hill. And so they're going to be looking to get that zinger in. But, you know, if he does, you've got to be ready to come back with something. Look, I'm telling you, if Joe Biden has a bad debate, it's over for him. If he has a good debate, or at least he meets the minimum expectations, then he probably lives to fight another day. But, I mean, everybody's watching to see which one of the Joe Bidens is going to show up. His spokesperson, a woman by the name of Adrienne Elrod, is going around saying she's absolutely sure that an energized Joe Biden will show up on debate night on Thursday. I wonder how she knows that. I mean, how can she possibly know whether we'll get Sleepy Joe or Angry Joe? But she seems to be saying very confident, don't worry, he'll be up for the task.
You're going to see a very energized President Biden who is looking forward to having these direct conversations with Donald Trump on Thursday night in Atlanta. I
mean, does she know because she knows which drugs they're giving him? I mean, what are they doing? They got to be pumping him full of drugs. But she was asked directly about whether or not, Biden would actually take a drug test, as Donald Trump has suggested, and she deflects.
President Trump asking President Biden for a drug test going into Thursday night. What's your reaction?
I mean, I don't even really know what to say about that. I worked on Hillary Clinton's campaign. You know, she also debated him very effectively. He accused her of being on drugs.
Yeah. She didn't answer the question, did she? All right. So Castellanos, I think, has the right answer. Joe, you may not recall. You know, just like that can be Trump's version of, well, there you go again. Well, there you go again. That was so effective with Reagan. So he needs to, well, you just may not recall, Joe, but, just hang in there for a moment. I'm going to remind you gently of the things that you have forgotten. Oh, that would be so brutal. So brutal. All right, so let's see what else we have here. Trump and Youngkin joined forces for the first time as Republicans push Virginia further into play. Youngkin is putting aside longstanding differences with the former president in a bid to flip Virginia red this November. The two are holding a rally on Friday afternoon in Chesapeake, Virginia, as polls show the governor's one-time rival in a dead heat with President Joe Biden. The two Republicans' sporadic relationship is well documented. In 2021, Youngkin shocked the country when he won his bid for governor, flipping a governor's mansion that was thought to be a Democrat stronghold. Trump took credit for the landmark win, saying in a post to social media, Youngkin, now that's an interesting take, sounds Chinese, doesn't it? Virginia couldn't have won without me. Youngkin appeared to take the former president's support more lightly. After clinching the governor's seat, Youngkin spent the next 2 years contemplating challenging Trump for the presidency, while twice declining opportunities to appear at Trump rallies in his state. That's all been put behind them because, Trump is in the hunt in Virginia. It's looking real strong. Everybody thought it would go blue. Now Biden is going to have to defend Virginia. Here's a story from Breitbart. Black voter support for Trump at 23%. Now you say, well, that's not great. Yes, it is, because it was like about half of that in 2020. CBS News YouGov poll published this week shows former President Donald Trump making gains with black voters with support at 23%, nearly double from 2020. Exit polling in 2020 showed only about 12% black voter support for Trump. At the same time, Trump has been gaining support among black voters. Black voters' support for Joe Biden is down significantly. So, every black voter that you have vote is one that's not going to vote for Joe Biden. You take away from Biden and you add to Trump, and that helps. I mean, if you start diminishing and draining Joe Biden's base, you'll have a very good night on election night. Now, I think the Democrats are absolutely panicked about that. They are panicked about losing black support, losing Hispanic support, losing young voters in a huge way. Now look, I'm going to tell you, if you look at Biden's numbers, he'll have more black votes, he'll have more Hispanic votes, he'll have more younger votes than Trump will have, but he won't have as many as he had last time. That's pretty clear. And they're going to be added to the Trump column the way it sounds. Arizona, election worker arrested after allegedly stealing a security fob for voting tabulator in Maricopa County. This is a pretty interesting case. It's just breaking in the last little bit, and this person has been arrested.
They determined that the suspect that we've been talking about had taken the black security key and put it in his pocket and then removed it from the ballot tabulation center.
From my understanding, the stolen digital magnetic key is something that has the potential to actually log into the tabulation machines in the tech. So you can understand the concern and the implication that might have.
Once we learned that this security key had gone outside of the ballot tabulation center, we reprogrammed the tabulation machines, and that deactivated this.
So apparently they caught this guy. They went to his house and they found the fob, this electronic key, digital key, at his home. So what was he up to? What was that going to be all about? Pretty interesting. I wonder what will happen to this guy. He's being held in jail right now. And then there's this. I'm telling you, I don't like the take that Channel 5 had on it, but I will read to you something I think is pretty interesting. The Tennessee Secretary of State's office sent out 14,000 letters asking voters to prove their citizenship ahead of elections. This is Channel 5's. Have you gotten a letter from the state asking you to prove your citizenship? A lot of people in Tennessee say they've gotten them, and it's not a scam. The Secretary of State's office confirms they sent out 14,000 of these letters to potential non-U.S. citizens. Many who received the letter say they voted in several previous elections, so immigrant groups have expressed concern that they're being targeted. Like this guy, Simon Kerr, they talked to, born and raised in Ireland, calls Nashville home, became a U.S. citizen 7 years ago. He says he has exercised his right to legally vote, so he was shocked and a bit disappointed to receive the letter. But the Secretary of State's office says the voter rolls was compared with data from the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security, and those who received the letter may not have been a U.S. citizen when they had their first interaction with Homeland Security. The person could have been naturalized since then, but did not update their records. And he's not apologizing at all. They allow voters to correct their voter registration. Kerr says, some say, well, this is voter intimidation. I don't think it is voter intimidation. It's simply a reminder of what the law says. If you are an American citizen and you have the documents, fine. If not, you've been put on notice that you're not supposed to vote in the coming election. What harm is done by that? I don't think any. So there you go. 21 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock. The chairman of the Federal Reserve says we're on an unsustainable fiscal path. We aren't going to pay off that $34 trillion debt anytime soon. You know what will happen. They'll print money to pay off interest on the debt and weaken the U.S. dollar. Maybe it's time to look for another kind of investment. Maybe you've thought about adding gold or other precious metals to your portfolio, but you feel, like I did, that you don't have the knowledge you need to make a smart decision. Well, I got the professional guidance that I needed at Nashville Gold and Coin. Works this way. You make an appointment. They'll sit down with you one-on-one, and my friends at Nashville Gold and Coin will answer all your questions and help you make the precious metal investment that is right for you. It's friendly. You're going to learn a ton, and you will never be subjected to a high-pressure sales pitch. Gold and silver can be a safe haven in uncertain economic times, and my friends at Nashville Gold and Coin are standing by to answer all your questions about the precious metals market. And if you have some old coins laying around gathering dust, bring them along. I think you might be surprised just how much they're worth. I know I was. To set up that one-on-one appointment, go to NashvilleGoldandCoin.com. That's NashvilleGoldandCoin.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to MarkSpain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Some student loan forgiveness is now on hold, and another electric vehicle recall. We'll have those stories at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 25 minutes now past the hour, 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I was thinking of 25. Super Talk 99.7. Where we're talking about the big debate we're going to be covering on Thursday. As you know, we've got an event going on at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. We can all watch the presidential debate together. We will start there at 3 o'clock. The drive will kick off at 3 o'clock. I'll do the 3, the 4, the 5. In the 6 o'clock hour, I'll be joined by, Chris and Matt and Dan Mandis, and we will go for the next 2 hours. So it's extra bonus time. We'll go all the way to 8 o'clock And then at 8 o'clock, we will carry on this station, right here on Super Talk 99.7, the presidential debate in its entirety. So that'll be something that, if you have to be out and around and you can't be in front of the television, you can be listening right here on Super Talk 99.7. I mean, I honestly didn't think we were going to be able to work that out. But we did. The new program director is like a miracle worker.
Oh, yeah. It's
Not
like
that
that song. He says he uses a machete to cut through red tape.
That's right. That's exactly what he does. And he got somehow he was able to convince them that it was okay. So, it's going to be good. I mean, this is going to be, if you love politics, you can't afford to miss this. I mean, who knows how it's going to work out? I mean, what exactly, how will Trump come in? Will he come in hot? Will he come in more reserved? Is it going to be the dumb Joe Biden or the angry Joe Biden? Is it going to be this guy? I will never get tired of that. I mean, honestly, he's only been your Secretary of Homeland Security, since the start.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm Jill Biden's husband. Thanks to all the members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure I'm going to introduce you all the way.
It sounds like I played with that, like that's an edit. It's not. I mean, that's exactly how it happened. So which Joe Biden is going to show up, I think it's going to be really interesting. And if it's a failure for the Biden team, then what happens next? What will they do? There's so many questions here to be answered, but I think we're going to have a good time. Again, if you want to get the details, as far as I know, no tickets. I haven't seen anybody talk about tickets, so I guess no tickets. You need it. It would be nice to know how many are going to be there. So, go to 997WTN.com and you can get all the details. Otherwise, I'll see you out there in Murfreesboro starting at about 3 o'clock for the drive. And then we'll all settle in for what should be a very entertaining night. And I got to tell you, it's sort of like, I think the best comparison is like when you're supporting a sports team and you go to a sports bar and you're there with a bunch of people who are of the same mind. They're supporting the same team you're supporting. Maybe like the Balls for baseball last night. And so you go and you watch the game and you're with a bunch of people, and it's just a lot more fun when you're with people who are sort of, rooting for the home team. Well, I mean, that's a sign of what this is going to be like. It's a lot of fun to hang around with people who sort of view the world the way you do and who are going to be, rooting for Trump. And so, you'll get you'll be in a very friendly crowd if you come there. And so I'm looking forward to it. I hope that we pack the place. I think we will, because honestly, beer and a good political debate. Is there anything more American than that?
Maybe some apple pie. I don't know. Well,
I don't know. I don't know about any apple pie, but I know where I can find some pretty tasty banana pudding. Because I had some the other night. That was good. All right, so we'll see you there, right? It's 3:30 now. Time for the news with Jay Harper.
Yes, good afternoon. It's 3:30. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Sun and 97 degrees. The full forecast and another traffic report are on the way. Portions of President Biden's latest student loan forgiveness programs have been blocked by 2 federal judges. Further debt cancellation for borrowers who have been repaying student loans for at least a decade, they're on hold too. Here's Karen Travers with more.
These lawsuits were brought by Kansas and Missouri, Republican states that argued that the Biden administration didn't have authority from Congress to enact the SAVE plan, a student loan repayment program that ties how much someone pays each month to their income. So far through the SAVE plan, President Biden has canceled $5.5 billion in debt for almost 414,000 borrowers. The Department of Education and the White House are vowing to fight these rulings.
Another bump in the road for Tesla's electric truck. Mike Dobusky has that story.
The Tesla Cybertruck is being recalled. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says over 11,000 of the pickup trucks could have loose trim pieces, which could fly off at speed. NHTSA also notes the truck's windshield wiper could fail. Tesla says it will notify owners by mid-August if their truck is affected, and they'll replace the parts free of charge. This is the fourth Cybertruck recall since it went on sale at the end of last November.
And just another quick programming reminder. We will, as Brian just mentioned, we're going to be airing that presidential debate on Super Talk this Thursday night. The debate is set to get started at 8 o'clock right after the live radio event at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. We certainly hope to see you there. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Let's talk about Grace Point Healthcare. Listen, if you are starting about thinking about going back to school with the kiddos and they need like a sports physical or just an annual physical, need to get up to date on their shots and what have you, Grace Point provides complete physicals for kids of all ages. Scheduling an international vacation or a mission trip, many people are on those right now. Grace Point offers complete travel immunizations and is CDC certified for yellow fever and all other international immunizations protocols. And because they will see you the same day, or in some cases, it's rare, but the next day, you won't have to wait days or weeks to see a doctor. I mean, I'm telling you, that is the most frustrating thing when you call and say, I need to get in for an appointment. Say, okay, well, we can set you up in a couple of weeks. You don't always have a couple of weeks, do you? That's modern medicine at your convenience, delivered the old-fashioned way. Affordable, comprehensive, and convenient. Those are the words that they use to describe what they do at Grace Point. Their Main Street on Franklin is where they're located. Here's the number, 615-599-6868. That's 599-6868 to schedule an appointment.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
It is 37 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk. Brian Wilson in the chair on this really hot day. We're watching very closely the thermometer. I don't know where you get the official Nashville temperature from, but I mean, usually it's the airport. And I don't think that's always a good place to get it, because what do you have at airport? You have a lot of tarmac.
That's true. Yeah.
And that's hot.
Yep.
And then on top of all that, you got jets with hot exhaust. That drives up the temperature. But right now at Nashville International Airport, BNA, it is 98 degrees. So let me see. I've got this other location in Nashville. Let me see if I can look at this. I have Geodis Park, and that's 98 as well.
So that's the soccer stadium.
That's right.
Okay.
But Jay, do you know the answer to that question? Where do we take the official Nashville temperature from? At the end of the day, the one that goes in the books, where is it?
You know, that is a great question. Other markets I've worked, it has been the airport.
Usually it's the airport. Yeah, I don't know. 98 degrees, and it feels like 100.
Wow. At least it's a nice round number.
Yeah, that's what it says. I don't know. I got some news to talk about here with regard to both Biden and Trump. Let's start with Trump. A bit of good news today. According to the Associated Press, a judge on Tuesday modified Donald Trump's gag order, freeing the former president to comment publicly about witnesses and jurors in the hush money criminal trial. And that's pretty interesting. Judge Juan M. Merchan ruling just days before Trump's debate Thursday with President Joe Biden clears the presumptive Republican nominee to again go on the attack against his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, porn actor Stormy Daniels, and other witnesses. Trump was convicted on May 30th of falsifying records to cover up potential sex scandal. That's 34 different counts. Trump's lawyers had urged Merchan to lift the gag order completely, arguing there was nothing to continued restrictions on Trump's First Amendment rights. Jonathan Turley sort of wonders, he's sort of scratching his head. Now that the trial is over and we're just waiting for the punishment phase, why not go ahead and release the gag order?
And so it still is this disconnect as to why we're even talking about a gag order at this stage. It's clear the case is still before him. Okay, the sentencing hasn't occurred. I get that. But to not acknowledge that this is a presidential campaign and this is one of the big issues in that presidential campaign, I think is really nonsense. That the judge could have gone further than he did. I think it's good that he lifted it in part. I think that he recognizes that. I don't know why he didn't do that right after the verdict came in.
Well, I don't either. We're still waiting on the high court, the highest court of the land. The Supremes have not yet handed down that immunity decision. This from thehill.com. The Supreme Court poised to issue its decision on presidential immunity as soon as this week, with the potential to reshape the powers of the nation's highest office and hurl the 2024 presidential election into uncharted territory. At the heart of former President Trump's challenge, stemming from federal charges he faces with the 2020 election, is whether the ex-commander-in-chief has criminal immunity for official acts carried out while in the White House. As the justices weigh the extent of that protection, there are a few things that you need to know, according to thehill.com. The question is, how far does presidential immunity go? Opposite views of presidential immunity were presented by Trump's attorneys and special counsel Jack Smith's team during an argument this spring, giving the justices significant latitude on how they should decide the issue. Trump's attorneys asked the high court to embrace a far-reaching view of presidential immunity, asserting that presidents are fully immune for official acts in the White House and once they leave. D. John Sauer, who argued Trump's case, contended the most hypotheticals raised by justice could be covered easily by presidential immunity, including ordering the military to take out a political rival. I mean, honestly. Meanwhile, special counsel Jack Smith's team claimed that only sitting presidents are immune from criminal prosecution and that criminal conduct would be given a free pass under Trump's interpretation of the law. How might Trump-appointed justices land is a question. You've got Gorsuch, you've got Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett, who were all appointed by President Trump. Will Trump go to trial in D.C.? That's one of the remaining questions there. Will it help or hurt Trump's other cases? Any decision the justices hand down will likely have implications for Trump's other criminal cases, mainly in the form of delays. If the Supreme Court sides with Trump, it is all but guaranteed the judges overseeing his other criminal cases will be asked to weigh in on the matter. That stands to push any future trial even further down the road. Trump faces federal charges in Florida and state charges in Georgia. He was convicted last month in New York of falsifying business records. You know all that, but a lot of these cases will have to be revisited depending on exactly what we have going on with regard to immunity. And will it be addressed in the debate? It could well be decided before they go toe-to-toe. It could be decided Wednesday or even Thursday before earlier in the day. Friday could be the end of the term, they're saying. Although they've got a lot of cases. I think I read yesterday they had 14 cases yet to rule on, to hand down their opinions about. And they have in the past when they get a heavy load, they do push into July. But, I mean, the expectation is that they would be finished by this week. In normal times, that would be the case. Now on to Hunter Biden. He's in the news as well. This from FoxNews.com. Hunter Biden's law license has been suspended in the District of Columbia after being found guilty on all counts in his gun trial in Wilmington, Delaware. Hunter Biden's license to practice law in the District of Columbia suspended following a jury finding him guilty in his criminal gun trial earlier this month. As of Tuesday morning, Biden is, quote, suspended immediately from the practice of law in Washington, D.C., pending a formal proceeding that will determine whether to uphold the suspension. The District of Columbia Court of Appeals e-filing system shows the order was filed on Tuesday. The Office of Disciplinary Counsel in Washington, D.C., sent a letter to the D.C. Court of Appeals last week seeking to suspend Biden's license after the guilty verdict on June 11th. The suspension only affects his ability to practice law in Washington, D.C. I don't think he was practicing law anyway, so it doesn't really matter. As of Tuesday morning, the website still had him as an attorney in good standing, but that will no doubt take a little time for the website to catch up with reality. As you know, Biden was found guilty on June 11th of lying about his drug use when purchasing a firearm in 2018. Found guilty on 3 charges: making a false statement in purchasing the gun, making a false statement related to information required to be kept by a federally licensed gun dealer, and possession of a gun by a person who is an unlawful user or addicted to a controlled substance. I mean, boy, did that trial go badly for him or what? Everybody, I mean, Abby Lowell went in there talking tough, talking like, oh, we're gonna prevail in this. This case doesn't have a leg to stand on. And I'm telling you, the prosecutors in those cases were just really powerful in just dismantling every legal argument that Hunter Biden put forward. The thing as I look back on that, the thing I just can't understand is that, Lowell's not a stupid attorney. And say what you will about Hunter Biden. I don't think he's a dumb individual. I think he's a troubled individual, but I don't think he's stupid. And they knew that they were not going to prevail probably in the gun case. Why take it to trial? I mean, what purpose was served by them going to trial when it was pretty much a open and shut case? I don't understand that, because all it did was draw attention to him. It tarnishes the Biden name. It distracts his father, and all of that. And I just don't think there was any percentage in it when he could do time in the Gray Bar Hotel. It's entirely possible that he could do some time. Now, I'm not guessing that he will, but I do think it's possible that he could do some time in jail. He could have gotten a plea deal, moved on, not had this big dog and pony show, not have it being, in the news every day for days and days and days on end. All of that could have been avoided with a nice, tidy sort of plea agreement. And I don't know why, quite frankly, they did that. It was pretty shocking. I'm wondering if they have learned their lesson. They've got another trial coming. A trial this time will be on the tax case. And as far as I can tell, that's a pretty clear-cut case. He clearly didn't pay his taxes on time. And he's going to be convicted on that one pretty well. I mean, the facts are pretty clear on that. We all know, and you can go in there and you can try to say, well, I was on drugs and I wasn't in my right mind. Well, those are mitigating circumstances, but you still didn't pay your taxes on time, and you were living a pretty lavish lifestyle. And all of that stuff is going to be dragged out before the courts. Once again, we're going to be talking about the sordid details of Hunter Biden's life. Why wouldn't you cut a deal and avoid all that? Get some kind of, favorable ruling from in a plea bargain and move on. I've never understood the logic of taking those two cases to trial. Maybe he just felt like he could beat it. Maybe it's just the sort of the Biden mentality of, I didn't do anything wrong, and I'm convinced I didn't do anything wrong, and I'm going to show you I didn't do anything wrong, even when you're up against all of these facts that seem to indicate, yeah, you did something wrong. Maybe they can't accept that idea. I don't know. Is it ego? I don't know. But it certainly is not great for the quote-unquote Biden brand for him to go through all that. So we'll see what happens in the days ahead. But again, the news today about Hunter Biden is they have suspended his ability to practice law in the District of Columbia. 50 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
And the election worker arrest in Arizona. And the cause of last year's train derailment in Ohio has been determined. And back here in the Middle Tennessee area, Nolensville voters, they'll have a special provision on the ballot. We'll get to those stories at 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, I'm watching that temperature. It looks like it's down to about 95 now. So we may have hit our high today. We'll see. We'll see what the official high temperature is when it comes out. But it's close. It was almost 100. Looking at the markets, Dow Jones Industrials down 299 points. The S&P is up 21. The NASDAQ is up 220 points. That's about 1 1/4%. So a good day on the NASDAQ, but mixed boards across the major indices. Let's check in and find out what's going on, what's driving these markets with John Maxson over at Beacon Capital Management. Good afternoon, John.
Hey, good afternoon, Brian. Yeah, the exact opposite of yesterday. The Dow was up yesterday, and the other two indexes down today. The Dow had the worst day it's had in almost a month, so definitely mixed. So basically, across the board today, we had some economic data that came out. Home prices literally set an all-time record this last month. But good news is relative to inflation, the growth has slowed some. Consumer confidence also came in today. 70% of the economy is based on consumer spending. That was at 100, right in line with expectations. So again, some pretty good economic data, but this week is going to be all about the Fed and inflation as we get near the end of the week. But we are going to get new home sales tomorrow and initial jobless claims. All that's going to build into the PC index on Friday. But again, the exact opposite mixed board from yesterday.
All right. Thank you very much, John. Find out about all the things that John Maxson and the good people at Beacon Capital Management can do to help you prepare for your retirement. Just go to their website, askbeaconnow.com. All right. It is 58 minutes past the hour. And speaking of Beacon, how about this? Are your retirement assets structured to minimize taxes? Might be hard to believe, but many hardworking Americans just like you could be overpaying on taxes in retirement. You can be taxed on your IRA, your 401k, and any other tax-deferred retirement accounts. Beacon Capital Management is here to give you peace of mind. With the threat of massive tax increases just around the corner, your nest egg could be in trouble unless you take advantage of defensive tax saving strategies now. Defend your hard-earned retirement savings by scheduling a free retirement tax reduction analysis today. No cost, no pressure, no obligation. If you've saved more than $250,000 in retirement, don't wait any longer. Schedule your free retirement tax reduction analysis from Beacon. Just call this number, 615-488-9303, or visit askbeaconnow.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Good afternoon. It is 4 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Plenty of sunshine. We've dropped a degree on Music Row, but whoopee, it's still 96 degrees. We've got a full forecast and another traffic report on the way. A temporary election worker under arrest in Phoenix, Arizona for allegedly stealing a security key fob used to gain access to tabulation machines. Authorities say 27-year-old Walter Ringfield had previously been charged in a theft last year, but was in a diversion program, so no conviction showed up during a background check. Maricopa County Board of Supervisors Vice Chairman William Gates says that security footage led them to the suspect and the subsequent arrest.
They determined that the suspect that we've been talking about had taken the black security key and put it in his pocket and then removed it from the ballot tabulation center.
We now move to the Midwest, where the train derailment investigation has been completed in that crash in East Palestine, Ohio. The NTSB found multiple failures that led to last year's fiery train derailment. A faulty trackside sensor failed to detect a rail bearing that had caught on fire. Board member Michael Graham read some more errors found by the investigation at a news briefing earlier today.
The National Transportation Safety Board determines that the probable cause of the derailment involving Norfolk Southern Railway train 32N was the failure of the L1 bearing on the 23rd rail car in the consist that overheated and caused the axle to separate.
Back here in Middle Tennessee, voters in Nolensville, well, they're going to have an extra decision to make come November.
News 2 says folks in Nolensville will be asked to sign a petition at Saturday's annual Star-Spangled Celebration to get a referendum on the ballot that would allow stores to sell wine. The Tennessee Grocers and Convenience Store Association says 2 new stores are planned for the Nolensville area, a Kroger and a Publix, to open in the next year and a half, but they won't be able to sell wine unless voters approve a referendum. Supporters say it would benefit the town through increased sales tax revenue and attract more retailers. Just under 600 signatures are needed to get it before voters in November. Ken Weaver, WTN News.
And just another programming reminder here. We will be airing the presidential debate on Super Talk this Thursday night. The debate will be getting underway at around 8 o'clock. That'll happen right after we have a live radio event that we hope you'll join us at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather. There next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
It is 7 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Hello, everybody. I'm Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy, and this is hour number 2 of The Drive on a pretty hot day. I saw the thermometer hit 98 a moment ago at Nashville International Airport at B&A, and it's 95 right now. I mean, really, honestly, when you're talking about 95, 98,
it's hot.
It's hot.
Yeah.
And it's a moist heat. So there's
Lovely.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We got all kinds of stuff going on, but let's head to the swamp. We got some interesting stuff out of the swamp. You know, I worked there for 31 godforsaken years. I got to Middle Tennessee as soon as I possibly could, and boy, am I glad. But because I spent that time there, you know, let the pain and suffering that I endured, you know, be instructive for you. Somebody had to do it. Judges have halted key parts of Biden's student loan forgiveness repayment plan. Hallelujah. Happy organ. Yeah. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. No, I'm happy about this because I thought that the whole idea was a scam. I guess if you are one of those who are having your student loan repaid, maybe you're not playing the happy organ. Maybe you're sad. Maybe you're just, a sad trombone. But I think this is great. Let me give you what I know about it. 2 federal judges, according to CNBC, 2 federal judges in Kansas and Missouri have temporarily halted significant parts of President Joe Biden's new student loan repayment plan, putting debt relief for millions of Americans in jeopardy. The Monday evening ruling stops the U.S. Department of Education from implementing major provisions of the Savings on a Valuable Education, or SAVE plan, until the cases are decided. The Biden administration is prevented from forgiving any more debt under the new income-driven repayment plan and from further reducing borrowers' payments in July, as it had planned to do. More than 8 million borrowers had enrolled in the SAVE plan since it launched in August. Those enrolled were less than a week away from seeing their monthly bills drop by a half or more. Borrowers will be disappointed and angry that financial relief was yanked away from them at the last minute, said higher education expert Mark Krantowitz. But you know what I found out? There was a survey. I wish I could remember the exact number. But if you think that, if he thought that he was going to make people happy by saying that he was going to pay off their college debt, and that they didn't have to finish off paying their college loans, you would be disabused of that notion, because they've done polling on it, and they found that more people hate the idea than like it. A lot more people. So I'm happy that this has happened. It's not that I wish you a financial hardship, but you know what? You took out that loan. You knew it was a loan. And what is a loan? Should I pull up the definition of a loan? It's not, you borrow money and they charge you some interest, and you have to pay it back. A loan is not something where you take out the money and you just keep it. No, you have to pay it back with interest. That's the way a loan works. And I know because you went to college, you're probably smart enough to know that. It's not fair to the rest of us who did the right thing. I didn't have a student loan for my daughter. I saved the money so she could go to college. And she just graduated. And with honors, by the way. Just saying. Happy dad. Very proud. So, but I'm telling you, I did the right thing. I started when she was just a kid, started saving and putting the money back, right? And now, because I did the right thing, I feel like a chump. Why? I probably shouldn't have done that. I probably should have just gone out and taken out a big old student loan and then wait for you guys to forgive it. It's not fair to those people who never went to college. Maybe they decided, I'm going to take my high school education and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to become a real expert in this, that, or the other, and I'm going to make a good living. There are a lot of people who do that, never go to college, make a good living, and they go out there, they're industrious, they work hard. They chose that, they said that for them, college wasn't right. And by the way, I think a lot of people are now coming to that conclusion. College education ain't what it used to be.
Well, Brian, I repaid my student loan in full about 25 years ago. I mean, hey, where's my break? And all the others that paid theirs back.
Well, I did when I went to and got my master's degree. I took out a small loan just because I didn't have the cash on hand. I paid it back. My ex-wife, I paid hers back. And then we decided we're not going to do that for our daughter. We're going to do the right thing. I mean, you're right. Where is where do you get credit for doing the right thing? And if you didn't do the right thing, then, they bail you out. If you did the right thing, nothing, nada, crickets. And so I'm glad that the courts have put a stop to this because, quite frankly, I don't think it's constitutional. I really don't. And you know who else doesn't think it was constitutional? Oh, if she were honest with you, Nancy Pelosi, because she once said that you can't do that without going back to Congress. The Congress would have to be involved if you were going to forgive student loan debt. And the Supreme Court agreed with her. And then Biden came out and said, well, we've got this slick little way we're going to get around the Supreme Court. We don't care about the highest court in the land. Now, 2 judges, one from Kansas, one from Missouri, have said, well, just a minute there, Joe, you can't do that. You really can't do that. So I'm tickled. Here's another version of the story. This from ABC News. Missouri, Kansas judges temporarily halt much of President Biden's student debt forgiveness plan. Federal judges Monday together blocked much of Biden's administration's student loan repayment plan. The judge's ruling prevents the U.S. Department of Education from helping many of the intended borrowers ease their loan repayment burdens going forward under a rule that was set to go into effect on July 1st. We're just days away from it. The decisions do not cancel assistance already provided to other borrowers in earlier decisions and earlier attempts to circumvent the Supreme Court. So there you go. In Missouri, District Judge John Ross's order applies to different parts of the program than Crabtree's, who's from Kansas. He ruled in a lawsuit filed by the state's Attorney General Chris Kobach on behalf of the state and 10 others. In his ruling, Crabtree allowed parts of the program that allow students who borrowed $12,000 or less to make up the rest of their loans forgiven if they have made 10 years' worth of payments instead of the standard 25. And then the Missouri judge, his order applied to different parts of it. So between the two, significant parts of this are locked down. And so, sorry, folks. There's no gravy train for you. You may have to pay this back. Well, I hope these rulings stand, but I think they will because I think there's a pretty strong case to be made that this was unconstitutional. By the way, those 2 judges appointed by Obama. So it's got to be a little dodgy if 2 Obama appointed judges couldn't swallow and allow the thing to go forward. There you go. Other news from the swamp. The Pentagon doesn't know if it funds dangerous biological research in China, a new audit reveals. This is justthenews.com. Despite years of warning that China operates an illicit biological weapons program, the U.S. military remains unable to determine whether it sends American tax dollars to Beijing for research that could make pathogens more dangerous or deadly. The Pentagon's chief watchdog declared in a stunning new warning to policymakers. The DoD did not track funding at the level of detail necessary to determine whether the DoD provided funds to Chinese research laboratories or other foreign countries for research related to enhancement of pathogens for pandemic potential. The Pentagon Inspector General reported in the thing that came out this month. The findings show the Pentagon has done little to improve transparency on a critical security issue in the 2 years since the Government Accountability Office, an investigative arm of Congress, first raised concerns that defense officials could not account for how biological research funds sent to China were being used. That is embarrassing. of all the money we get over at the Pentagon, this ought to be one that they should be able to track. Or maybe they don't want you to know what they have done. Senator Joni Ernst, Republican of Iowa, has been leading the effort to force the Department of Defense to account for money it sends to China and to formally ban spending on research that makes viruses and bacteria more contagious or lethal. Gain-of-function research. She got a provision added to the National Defense Authorization Act last year that required the Inspector General to review. The Inspector General has reviewed it and said, I can't find the documents that let me answer the question that you posed on me to go in and investigate. The Department of Defense should defend the nation, not support research with the potential to do us harm, says Ernst. While bureaucrats are blindly giving away taxpayer funds, China doesn't even have to steal our research. As more evidence emerges that our own tax dollars are advancing the interest of our adversaries, it's clear we need greater transparency and accountability of how, why, and especially where our money is going. Don't you think so? I do. I do. In the swamp, Karine Jean-Pierre is lying through her teeth, talking about how Joe Biden has caused grocery prices to go down.
So yes, eggs and milk, and there were grocery things that were up. It has gone down. It has gone down since 2022. Gas prices, because of the actions that this president took, and let's not forget there was an invasion, but Russia did obviously into Ukraine that caused gas prices to tick up. The president took action, tapped the SPR, and we saw gas prices go down. The president has met the moment with every issue that we have had in front of us.
Absolutely. Just, she may be saying, if you want to parse her very carefully, have prices come down from the high that they were at slightly. Are they cheaper now than they were when Joe Biden took office? Absolutely not. Food has gone up on average since Joe Biden raised his hand and took the oath of office, has gone up 20%. It costs you 20% more on average across the board to go and buy groceries. And some categories are much higher, but that's the average. Food has gone up 20%. Right now, gasoline is 44% higher than it was when Joe Biden took office. 44%. Has it gotten a little better recently? Maybe it's come down a tad. But, when you add it all together, inflation, that's not the way you look at inflation. You look at inflation like, okay, when did he come in? Where was it then? Where is it now? And how much have we had to pay in between? On average, food, 20%. Gasoline, 44%. I could go through a whole laundry list of things. But they're using their words very carefully to try to make you think that Bidenomics is working. And it's not working. We all know it. By the way, I don't have time to get into it now. Hang on. I'll get into it in just a moment. Home prices. New information on that if you own a home, you're going to like. If you don't own a home, but you want to own a home, you're not going to like. 20 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock. DT McCall's the place to go if you need furniture, if you need appliances, if you need, things for your home, to make your house a home. DT McCall is the place to go. As you know, it's been a family-owned business that's been here more than 100 years, longer than a century. Now they have grown to 5 locations across Middle Tennessee. The place that you go if you need furniture, appliances, a mower, a safe, you need a bedroom suite, whatever you need. Think of the things that you need for your house right now, mattresses, beds, whatever. You're going to find it at DT McCall's. And here's the other thing. They're going to deal with you honestly. They're not going to upcharge you. They're going to give you a price that's an honest price. When they give you a price, you'll say, it's a good price. And you know what? They won't charge you extra for delivery or setup or haul away of the old thing. You need the old thing gone, right? Yeah, of course you do. They're not going to play games with you like the big box stores do. And the other thing, that I think really makes them a place to go. They are a Middle Tennessee company that sells products whenever possible that made and manufactured right here in Middle Tennessee. So it's a Tennessee company that does business with other Tennessee companies. And when you spend your dollars at DT McCall's, it's staying right here in Tennessee, not going to some corporation headquarters in Delaware, right? Learn more about all the things they can do for your home. And with their 5 convenient locations, just go to dtmccalls.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
A new CDC warning. And we'll also have today's closing money news. That comes up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
25 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy, and it is hot. It's now back up to 97. I think when it drops to like 3 degrees, it's like a cloud cover coming over the...
Yep.
I think that's all it is. Mm-hmm. So the high at the airport so far today has been 98, according to my information. And it's now back up to 97.
I think the record for today was 101. Well, so not going to quite get there.
We had some distance to go, but I mean, I'm telling you, plenty hot. Take it easy out there. Take care of your little critters, would you? Because they need to have water and a cool place to be. I said before we went to commercial break that there was some information about housing affordability that's not good. Well, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, if you're someone who's out there and you're thinking, I'm ready to buy a home and I can't because interest rates are so high, it's priced me out of the market. Here's a bit of more bad news. Housing prices have gone up. They've gone up quite a bit. Actually, here's some information about that from CNN.
Home prices just continue to smash records. New numbers out today show that nationally, home prices increased by 6% year over year in April. We continue to see a situation where despite high borrowing costs, home prices go up and up. There's just not enough supply out there to keep up with all that demand. Some cities are seeing even bigger price jumps. We've seen a jump of 10% for San Diego, 9% for New York and Chicago. And listen, this just continues to be a divide between haves and have-nots, right? If you own your home, this is good news because it's boosting your net worth. But we know a lot of people are on the outside looking in. They want to buy, but they can't, not with these prices.
I mean, really, if you are a homeowner and you've been a homeowner for a while and you've got a pretty good interest rate, you should sit tight right now because the value of your home is going up. Now, I really thought that when interest rates went up so high and that there wasn't a lot of movement in the market, that home values might come down. That has not been the case. The actual number is not 6%, it's 6.3%. So year to year, up 6.3%. 1 year, 6%. So, I mean, figure out what you think your house is worth and add 6% to it. So that's good if you own. If you are trying to own, it is really bad news and very frustrating because, you're not only are interest rates between 6.9 and 7.5%, you're now going to have to pay more for those houses that are on the market. So, again, the house prices have gone up. That's the good news if you own, bad news if you don't own. Interest rates still a long way. Now, what will the Fed do? Here, that's the big question. When we look at the markets every day, much of what's happening in the markets is being driven on a day-to-day basis of some bit of news that tends to give you some window, pretends to give you some window into exactly what the Fed might do. Now, I think the way that looks right now, I mean, I'm no real expert on it, but the way it feels right now is that interest rates are not going to come down until after the elections. I mean, the Biden people would love it if you got one in July. I don't think that's going to happen because interest rates have not gotten to 2%. In fact, there's one member of the Fed who said, you know what, I would be okay with raising it a little more if we needed to drive inflation down to where it needs to be. So it could even go up if that's right. So I don't think you're going to get a break on interest rates until well after the elections. Maybe if we get one this year at Christmas, but who knows? Now, I will say this, that if the Fed does decide to drop interest rates, that's not a sound financial decision. That is a political decision designed to help the Biden administration. So, because clearly they've been very clear on this. You got to get to 2%. And they're not near 2% yet. Not by a long shot. Time for the news at 4:30.
Yes, it is 4:30, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Plenty of sun, 96 degrees on Music Row, a full forecast, and another traffic report are minutes away. Dengue fever isn't something that is on most Americans' radar, but the CDC, they're warning that it is becoming a bigger problem here in the U.S. ABC's Andy Field explains.
Infected mosquitoes usually only spread dengue fever in near tropical U.S. conditions in Florida, Hawaii, and Texas. But there have been reports as well in Arizona and California. Most have to just wait out the severe like flu symptoms. There is prevention, draining holding water areas and using bug spray, installing window screens, and keeping your home cool to avoid bites inside.
There is no specific medication to treat dengue fever, but most cases can be treated successfully at home with pain relievers and plenty of fluids. We now turn to today's closing money news. Here's Dave Packer.
From ABC News, Wall Street Now. It's a seesaw market. The last three sessions saw AI chipmaker NVIDIA fall nearly 13%, dragging the NASDAQ lower relative to the Dow. Today, that divergence reversed itself, with NVIDIA shares gaining about 6.5% today, pushing the tech-heavy NASDAQ up about 220 points. The first gain for the index in 4 days, this while the Dow fell 299 points. And the S&P 500 gaining 21. Using the Earth's heat to make electricity, the utility Southern California Edison announcing it will buy electricity from Houston-based Fervo Energy. The California utility making the largest geothermal power development in the U.S., 400 megawatts of clean energy from the Earth, enough for some 400,000 homes. Canada has got a very familiar sounding inflation problem. The announcement today of a surprise spike in inflation that could keep the Canadian Central Bank from any interest rate cuts anytime soon. The price of goods and services in Canada rising 3% in May from a year earlier.
And again, another quick programming reminder. We will be airing the presidential debate on Super Talk this Thursday night. The debate set to begin at 8 o'clock, right after that live radio event at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. We hope to see you there. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
38 minutes past the hour, 4 o'clock, 97 degrees outside. Whoo! That's plenty balmy. That's really a bit hot and damp. Sorry, I won't. Let's not focus on it. Just get from work to the car, and get that air conditioner going as soon as you can. You know, that's the worst part, is that few seconds when you have to get in the car before the air conditioner really kicks in.
Yeah, especially if you've got like black interior. You sit on that black leather seat that's been blazing in the sun.
That can burn you. Ooh. Yeah, you got to be careful if you're wearing shorts, that's for sure. Education in the state of Tennessee is still struggling. And I don't know what we need to do here, but it's not good, ladies and gentlemen. Nearly half of Tennessee fourth graders struggle with reading, according to the new reports of the TCAP scores that are out. The new scores reveal, according to Fox 17, that Tennessee students are struggling with reading proficiency. That's according to the Tennessee Department of Education, who released the statewide TCAP results on Monday. They show that only 46% of Tennessee fourth graders are proficient in reading. And, well, they look at the positive. They say, well, that's up 2% from last year. But that still means that 54% of Tennessee fourth graders, more than half, are not reading proficiently as they reach the fourth grade. In addition, the data finds that third graders across the state showed little growth on English language arts portions of the test. Numbers from the district show scores from middle school students improved in many areas compared to last year. That includes subjects like math and science. Scores went down only in 2 areas, 7th grade English language arts and 7th grade social studies. But I'm telling you, this is bad. Less than 30% of 8th graders met proficiency on the math portion of the TCAP test. 30%. And again, they point out, well, that's a slight improvement from last year. That's very troubling. Very troubling. What's going on? How come we can't get this better? How come we can't fix these things? Why can't we make our education stick? And here, I guess the thing that I want to say, without getting into pointing fingers, is that number one, we've just thrown a lot of money into education in the state of Tennessee. The governor made sure that teachers are being paid well, and that will help us perhaps get some better teachers. I hope we can get teachers who are, more qualified, because obviously what we've been doing in the past has not been working. And what is the definition of insanity? Insanity is going forward and doing the same thing and expecting a different result. We of course are still trying to work our way out of what happened during the pandemic, and certainly a lot of these kids that are now making their way, wending their way through their education, their lower education, are finding that that time away from the classroom really, really hurt. Thank you very much. It really hurt, and digging out of that hole is not going to be easy. But we had an opportunity to try to do something different for students who are in situations where their schools are simply not getting the job done. We had an opportunity to do that. We were going to try to make, charter schools available or private schools available, and set up a situation where the money follows the student rather than just thrown, as it has been, at our existing public schools. Now, look, if you've got a great public school, this didn't matter to you at all, because you could keep your kid in a great public school. And there's no reason why they can't continue to go there. But when half of the kids out there are not able to read at proficient levels, when you get in 3rd and 4th grade, if you haven't figured out how to read proficiently and learn how to speak and write the English language proficiently, the rest of your education is going to be a struggle, because that is a key skill that you need to have by the time you reach the 3rd grade. Why are we just You know, why aren't people's hair on fire about this? These are our kids. This is our obligation is to make sure the kids are getting a good education, and clearly it's lacking in some places. New education laws that take effect in July 1st, and we have a bunch of them. Let me just run through some of them. This, according to WKRN, the HB 1909 Laken-Riley Act allow for students on college campuses to carry non-lethal defensive weapons such as pepper spray, a stun gun, or pepper gel in order to protect themselves. Previous state laws prohibited students from carrying such items on school grounds. This is for college campuses only. The law was named for Laken-Riley, a student at the University of Georgia who was killed while jogging. HB 2177, if school districts can provide digital copies of textbooks and other instructional materials, HB 2177 allows them to also provide hard copies for those that need them free of charge. I don't know. I think I always work better with hard copy. I guess it's maybe a generational thing, but the kids are raised on computers. Maybe they don't need it. I was not raised on computers. I had to learn them as I got older, and I still every day, Chris, back me up, I print out about a small phone book of materials. Yeah. I think there are other hosts on the station who don't print out material. They can just use their computer. I could never do that. I've got to mark it up. I have to make notes. I have to, scribble on it before I can bring it to you. So I end up going through about a box of, I'm talking about a big old box of paper every month. It's like, every day it's a small phone book.
Don't get them started on those printers, man.
Yeah, well, I've got a great printer now, but I have struggled with printers. Finding a good printer is hard to come by. I got one now. What else we got here? Let's see. 2582, an effort to raise awareness relating to child abuse and human trafficking. State lawmakers passed a bill that will require family life curriculum to include sections in both topics where appropriate for certain grade levels. The 2251, the Smart Heart Act, will require automated external defibrillators, the AEDs, to be placed in all public and private high schools, as well as extended training for cardiac-related emergencies. The schools must establish, review, and annually practice a cardiac-related athletics emergency to ensure they have a plan in place in the event one happens during a sporting event. I love this one. I think Mark Pody was involved in this. HB 2528, a new grant fund will be put in place for the 24-25 school year that will allow school districts to purchase school safety alerts. The panic alarms are designed to alert law enforcement in the event of an active shooter or other emergency. And teachers or administrators would wear them sort of like Life Alert. They'll have a lanyard and a device. And the grants would be limited to $8,000 per school in a fiscal year. But the idea is you give them these alert lanyards that they wear around their neck. If they push one button, it means we need you, the SRO, to come. If we push another button, we need you to send police. If we hit the last button, that's like all hands on deck. We've got a shooter situation. I love that idea because it automatically dispatches and routes what's going on to the right people at the right time so they can respond more quickly. I love that so much. Technology really can be used effectively. And so, a lot of schools, I hope, will think about that. As long as we're talking about schools, congratulations to the Covenant School, which is now celebrating their new renovated space. As classes resume later this year, students at the Covenant School will be returning to a renovated campus, with many of the spaces designed to instill a sense of hope as they move forward. Over the past 15 months since the Covenant School shooting, school officials have said that they've received incredible support and countless acts of kindness from the Nashville community, from across the country and around the world. A lot of people have reached out to help with the renovations, including Billy Joel and Alexis Joel's foundation. The school opened its doors to local media Tuesday, that was today, earlier, to show how its original campus in Burton Hills has been revitalized. you would not want to come into it exactly as it was, I would imagine. You want it to look fresh. You would want it to look different. You would want it to look as if some thought had been given so that it was a different experience for the students when they came back. We appreciate the opportunity to share our story in the gospel message, said head of school Trudy Waters. We have seen firsthand that out of deep loss, sorrow, and pain can come healing, hope, and joy. Well, that's the right way to look at it. So again, congratulations to the good folks over at Covenant School as they start to come back to school. I'm glad that they are renovating that space, and I'm glad that they're slowly but surely returning back to the school. You've got to move forward. What a tragic day that was. March 27th, 2023. We'll never forget it. I remember where I was, and it's one of those stories where here in Nashville, it so deeply impacted the community. It's one of those stories as you know where you were when you heard about the Covenant School shooting. I certainly will never forget it. And look, we've been doing a lot of investigative stuff that has to do with the shooting, but that doesn't mean that we don't want the best for these kids that are now returning back to these classrooms. We want them to thrive. We want them to go forward. So, I know that a lot of thought and prayer has gone into making the Covenant School a place where the kids can come back and not be reminded of the tragedy of that day, but can look forward to, again, getting their education there and moving forward and celebrating, education in such a vibrant and renovated space. So congratulations to all that. 50 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Are you happy with your insurance? Well, you know what? You're probably paying too much, and you need to check in with the folks at King & Associates Insurance in Brentwood. They've been an independent agency for some 25 years. And that is what you want. You know why? An independent agency has weeded out the non-competitive companies. They've got a bunch of different people they can choose from. You're not wedded to just one product. I mean, you go one of these internet companies, and they're going to give you whatever they got, take it right off the shelf, plug you in, and that's it. Not at King & Associates. They will take their time. They will go through and find the insurance policy that best meets your needs. You're going to get more bang for your insurance buck, and that's what you want. And then here's the other thing, great customer service. You're never going to be left holding on one of those phone trees. Oh, the call they tell you is important to them, but it's not really. Or they would answer the damn thing, wouldn't they? Well, you're not going to have to worry about that. You call this number, 615-329-8121, and you're actually going to hear an actual human being answer the phone every time. If they can't solve your problem, they'll get you to somebody who can in very short order. They are the kings of the multi-policy discount. Big savings can be found by bundling 20, 25, 30, 35%. So listen, get your royal review with King & Associates. Log into tkinginsurance.com. tkinginsurance.com. King Insurance & Associates, royal treatment and great rates.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Coming up, we'll have details on a mass shooting that occurred overnight at a Las Vegas apartment building, a new coffee recall, and a pop superstar makes out like a bandit on his Nashville area home sale. We'll have those stories at 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, starting on July 1st, it will be illegal for Tennessee drivers to purchase a James Bond-style license plate flipper for their car.
Oh.
I know. I thought that'd be very cool. I mean, what I want is I'd want it to flip over and have a message for people that I pass that I'm irritated with.
Yeah, that might get you in some trouble, too.
Yeah, but apparently these things run, you can buy them for between $50 and $300, and they will flip your license plate over. And a lot of people say, well, use it to get through, toll roads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But apparently they're saying if you're caught with one, starting July 1st, it's a $500 fine. 6 months in jail.
Ooh.
Yeah, don't want to do it. It'd be cool, though, to have one. All right, so listen, it's coming up for the next hour. We'll go to some 2024 news, and I have a few numbers from the state of Georgia and from the state of Nevada. Those are big battleground states. It's all straight ahead in the next hour of The Drive on Super Talk.
Good afternoon. It's 5 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Plenty of sunshine, still hot. 96 degrees on Music Row, a full forecast, and another traffic report with Jack Womack. That's all on the way. A man who shot and killed 5 victims and critically injured a 13-year-old girl at an apartment building in the city of North Las Vegas last night took his own life. That's according to police. Here's ABC's Alex Stone with details.
North Las Vegas police are refusing to give details surrounding the mass killing, except to say it was an isolated incident, but they won't say a motive or how the suspect and victims knew each other. Police responded to shots fired on Monday night and found 2 women dead. Later, they found a 13-year-old girl who was critically injured, and then at a nearby apartment, 2 more women and a man killed. 47-year-old alleged shooter Eric Adams killed himself, police say, when they found him on Tuesday.
Nearly 300 300 types of canned coffee distributed nationwide are being recalled over botulism concerns. That's according to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Snap Chill, a Wisconsin-based coffee company, is voluntarily recalling the canned coffee after learning their manufacturing process could lead to the potentially deadly food poisoning of certain kinds of toxins. The recall alert says the process could lead to the growth and production of the deadly toxin botulinum toxin. It's also other low-acid canned foods that this can affect as well. The canned coffee, it was distributed nationwide through various coffee roasters and retail locations, as well as online. And Justin Timberlake, he has struck gold in the hot Nashville real estate market. He sold his 127-acre property on the outskirts of the city for a cool $8 million. The 43-year-old star sold the land at the end of May, despite it fetching $2 million less than his original asking price from last summer. But he still managed to do pretty well. He doubled his investment. He bought it for $4 million back in 2015. The sale closing just weeks before Timberlake's headline-making DUI arrest up in the Hamptons. And again, we just want to remind you about the presidential debate. Yes, it will air live here on Super Talk on Thursday night. It's set to air at 8 p.m. right after the live radio event at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro, where we are hopeful you will join us. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather. They're on the way. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
It is 7 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock on this 25th day of June, and it's a scorcher out there today. Our high at the airport was 98. We're now at a much cooler 95 degrees.
Oh, that's much better, yeah.
That's much better. But it feels like, a lot like 113 or something like that. I'm making that up. I don't know. Welcome back to The Drive, another exciting hour here, our 5 o'clock hour. Time to do another look at politics. Got some numbers from you. We didn't have time to go through them in the last round. And people say, well, we heard you do that at 3 o'clock. Well, we do, try to get you the big news of the day because people are getting in their cars at very different times. So if you've heard it before, I try to make it a little different. All right, so this time, I'm going to tell you things you didn't hear last time. Here we go. Let's talk about general election numbers in the state of Georgia, which we all know is a battleground state. Very important. In the five-way matchup, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution poll says that Trump leads in the state of Georgia by 5 big points. Count them, 5 points. We have a Nevada poll. I got a two-way matchup in Nevada. That's just Trump versus Biden. This is done by pollster Fabrizio. He's pretty good pollster. Has Trump leading by 3 in Nevada. So 5 in Georgia, 3 in Nevada. Here's another thing. When you talk about general election numbers, Trump was behind by 10 points this time in the last election cycle. Biden was up by 10. Now, you find him up in 1 or 2 points in the general election, and about depending depends on where you look at it. In the battleground states, anywhere between 0.9 and more than 5 points ahead. So again, is it a runaway? No. Is it tight? Yeah, general election numbers really tight. But when you look at the battleground numbers, you start to see where Trump is doing better than Biden. So those are the numbers that I have for you today. Not a great deal of numbers, but those are important because, why? Because we decide our elections through the Electoral College, and we have to look at the battleground states and do the math as we try to understand where things are. So, I think you got Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Virginia. The Democrats are now saying they think Florida is a battleground state. I don't know. They say North Carolina might be a battleground state. I don't think so, but we'll see. Speaking of Virginia, the numbers there are tied according to the most recent polling done in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Polling indicates that Trump is on the rise. Youngkin, the governor there, seems to be hopping back on the Trump train as a result. A Fox News poll of Virginia voters found that a two-way matchup between Biden and Trump, the two are tied, both grasping 48% of the vote. That's a steep drop for Biden, who won Virginia by 10 points in 2020. 10 points he won Virginia, and now it's tied. Days after the poll was released, Youngkin told Fox News that voters want Trump back in the White House because he built a strong America. 2 days later, Youngkin and Trump met in a private meeting at the Trump National Golf Club in Loudoun County, Virginia, with the Trump campaign releasing a photo of the two afterwards. Their meeting on June 12th appeared to go very well. So Youngkin is on the Trump train, and Virginia is up for grabs for the first time in a long time. I mean, seriously, when you look back and see that Biden at this point was leading by 10 points in the last presidential election, and now it's dead even, something's going on. Something's happening here. Something's happening here. Black vote support for Trump is at 23%, according to a new poll. This comes from CBS YouGov. 23%, nearly double where it was. It was at 12% in 2020. Now, look, I'm going to be honest with you. If you look at Biden's numbers, he's going to have more black voters. He's going to have more Hispanic voters. He's going to have more young voters. But each of those categories, a good portion of those are now moving away from Biden and toward Trump. And if Trump pulls down 23, 24, 25% of the black vote, it would be it would be huge. It will strip and weaken and erode the base of Joe Biden. Joe Biden's got troubles. All of his bases, the young people, the Hispanics, the blacks, they're all sort of not happy with him. And there are, by the way, Jewish voters are not very happy with him at all either. Will some of those come over to Trump? I don't know. Be interesting to see if that happens or not. But one way or the other, this is pretty big stuff right here, and really bodes well, I think. And we are always told by the Democrats, there is no election fraud, no election fraud whatsoever. But an Arizona election worker has been arrested because there have been problems with him stealing, apparently, according to the charges that have been brought against him. According to what police say, he stole a sophisticated digital key for voting equipment in Maricopa County.
They determined that the suspect that we've been talking about had taken the black security key and put it in his pocket and then removed it from the ballot tabulation center.
From my understanding, the stolen digital magnetic key is something that has the potential to actually log into the tabulation machines in the tech. So you can understand the concern and the implication that might have.
Once we learned that this security key had gone outside of the ballot tabulation center, we reprogrammed the tabulation machines, and that deactivated this.
All right. So why was he stealing the security key? And look, I mean, what I would do with this guy, I mean, he faces some time in the Gray Bar Hotel. By the way, the estimated cost of replacing the security fobs and the tablets would be more than $19,000. So there's some financial loss here. Walter Ringfield, who identified himself to police as a temporary employee of the tabulation center, faces charges of theft and criminal damage. He remains in the custody of the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office as he awaits his next court appearance on an unrelated pending felony case against him. According to court documents, what was this guy doing working there? According to court documents, Ringfield was captured on surveillance video walking past a desk and multiple tabulators just after 5 p.m. local time on June 20th. The surveillance video then shows Ringfield stopping at the desk, grabbing a lanyard with the security fob and key attached, and placing them in his pocket. Ringfield was confronted by his election supervisor about taking the security fob and keys, and was allowed to search his car. Arizona detectives ultimately executed a search warrant at Ringfield's home where the fob was located. According to investigators, the security fobs are used in conjunction with special secure tablets used during the election. Because one was removed, every fob and every tablet must be reprogrammed. That will cost more than $19,000. The secure operation of the facility greatly impeded until the reprogramming is complete. And during his initial court appearance Saturday, Ringfield was informed that he would remain in custody until his next court appearance scheduled for Thursday because of another pending felony case against him. What was a convicted felon or a potential felon doing in such a secure area? Our systems are not only designed, they say, to detect anomalies, but are also supported by dedicated professionals committed to upholding the Democrat process. While this event is unwelcome, it speaks to the effectiveness of the security protocols built into Arizona's election system. The swift actions of the Maricopa County election staff, including the reconducting of logic and accuracy tests, builds an extra layer of protection of all the affected equipment. Why don't we just go back to paper? I mean, you can't, it's a lot harder to cause problems if you're dealing with paper. Of course, everybody now is waiting for the big event Thursday night, the big debate between Trump and Biden, and how's it going to go? I mean, which Joe Biden are we going to get? Are we going to get this Joe Biden? I'm not kidding. Are we going to get angry Joe Biden who screams at everybody? And how will Donald Trump come in? Will he come in hot like he did in the first debate, which really didn't work out too well with him? Or will he be a little more subtle, a little more strategic? Alex Castellanos is a smart guy. He's a GOP consultant. He's been doing this for a lot of years. If you want to learn something, sit at the knee of Alex Castellanos. And he says... He thinks that, you know, what I think, that you ought to, that's why I like it probably. He and I have the same idea. You got to come in and be the rope-a-dope. You got to be lower key. And there's a way to just devastate Biden when he starts spouting his lies or when he starts, you know, getting things wrong.
Donald Trump has a tremendous advantage. He could resort to a strategy politicians seldom use these days, which is he could just tell the truth. Donald Trump's America was a lot better place than Joe Biden's America. Absolutely, I'd say, Joe, maybe you're confused. You may not remember that I handed you an America that had 1.9% inflation and you drove it to 9%. You may not recall that our streets used to be safer. You may not remember that the Russians had enough respect for our country not to invade the Ukraine. But that was a better day for us. Stick with the issues that affect the American people and show that discipline that he's shown on the stump and just some marvelous campaigning. We're seeing peak Trump now. No one can do what Donald Trump is doing on the stump, inspiring crowds, just managing the moment. It's almost like he's in the crowd's head. This is masterful campaigning. Make sure that guy shows up for the debate.
You know, I love the idea of going, you know, instead of like Reagan did well, there you go again, you know, and would call out when they were Democrats were making stupid comments about him, but you know, and saying things that weren't true. Well, there you go again. It was very effective. How about though if Trump comes in and says, well, Joe, you may be a little confused. We all understand. But let me tell you what the facts are. You may not recall, Joe. You may not remember this because I know you have a little trouble remembering things from time to time. But let me tell you, let me remind you of some things that you may have forgotten over time. You know, I think that would be devastatingly effective. And I hope he does that. I mean, look, Trump he's a fighter. He loves to get in there and just knock heads. But you got to understand that, you know, if you come in a little more strategically, a little lower key, not quite as hot as he did in the first debate. I mean, you notice in the last debate, you know, when the first debate he did with Biden, he came in real hot, and it really didn't sit well with people. Thought he was too hot, too aggressive, and rude. Quite frankly, that's what people thought. He came back in the second time a bit more disciplined. I hope that the disciplined Trump shows up because, look, you don't have to beat up on this guy. I mean, he'll make enough mistakes on his own. I really do believe that. By the way, the Biden people think that, you know, they're pretty sure that you're going to see an energized Joe Biden show up at the debate. He's going to be full of, I don't know, amphetamines, maybe, I don't know, something.
You're going to see a very energized President Biden who is looking forward to having these direct conversations with Donald Trump on Thursday night in Atlanta.
But will he take a drug test?
President Trump asking President Biden for a drug test going into Thursday night. What's your reaction?
I mean, I don't even really know what to say about that. I worked on Hillary Clinton's campaign. You know, she also debated him very effectively. He accused her of being on drugs.
He's going to be on something. There's just no way they're going to send the old Joe Biden out there without a little bit of pharmaceutical enhancement. It is 21 past the hour. You know, many of you have lived around here for a long time. You know about URFARB. You know, they've been in Middle Tennessee, the place to go for your European car repair for some 24 years. And we've watched them grow. I don't know about you, but I love watching a hometown business that takes off. And so the folks at URFARB are now proud to announce their 5th location in Mount Juliet for URFARB on Mount Juliet Road, right across from the Dairy Queen. URFARB can serve you in Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now right there in Mount Juliet. Pretty cool getting to watch a small-town mechanic who started in a barn in the backyard of a single-wide trailer, now growing to 5 locations. That's 5 locations repairing thousands of cars each month. At URFARB, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty. At URFARB, you get a free loaner car with every repair appointment. Make an appointment because I tell you, these loaner cars, they go quick. Call 844-URFARB. That's 844-URFARB or visit myurafix.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
U.S. House Republicans drafting another contempt resolution. We'll have details on that, and we'll have information on 2 new vehicle recalls. Those stories coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, thank you, Jay Harper. He's there doing the news, and behind the glass there, pushing all the blinky buttons, is our good friend Chris Weber, keeping me on track and under control. Let's just we do a temperature check before. It's back up to 96 at the airport.
Oh, joy.
I know. A high today at the airport was 98, according to my my software. So there you go. I mean, that's hot. No matter how you look at it, that's hot. So, again, just try to stay cool, do the best you can. Make sure your air conditioner's working good. And all that kind of stuff. I am very excited about the event we're doing on Thursday out at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. The last time we were at Hop Springs, we did the election night coverage, and it was cold. I remember it being, it's pretty chilly. We did it outside. We're not going to be outside this time, going to be inside. But apparently it was... I remember it vividly because we were all doing our best to keep from freezing. But we had a good turnout then, and I'm pretty sure that we'll have a good turnout on Thursday night to keep an eye on what's going on here. Now, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I have to go finish up a little doctor thing, so I'm going to be out tomorrow. But I will be at Hop Springs starting at 3 o'clock on Thursday. Matt Murphy, I guess, will be in here tomorrow. Is that the plan, Chris? You know?
Yep, that is the plan.
I thought that would be the plan. And so he'll be in here tomorrow to cover for me. And then I'll see you again on Thursday at Hop Springs and Murfreesboro for the debate. Now, this is a no tickets are required. If you want to get the details on this whole event, just go to 997w10.com. Start at 3 o'clock. I'll do the 3 to 4 to 5. And then at 6 o'clock, I'll be joined by Dan, Chris, Matt, as we continue on for another 2 hours. It's going to be a long day, but we're going to be 2 hours, and that will take us until 8 o'clock, and that's when the debate starts. And we will be carrying the debate right here on Super Talk 99.7. I mean, I know we may said earlier that we're not, but we didn't count on how effective Program Director Paul Mesa would be in actually making this happen. He was very effective. I don't know, how he pulled it off. Maybe there are questions I don't want to ask here.
Yeah,
somehow it happened, but I'm glad that it's happening, and so we'll carry the debate here, a rebroadcast of the CNN debate. By the way, CNN has actually worked out deals with Fox News and ABC News and NBC and MSNBC and Telemundo, Nexstar Cable Network, News Nation, Newsmax, and Script News have all agreed to carry the CNN debate. And so we'll all be watching with the great interest to see how that all plays out. Which Joe Biden is going to show up, which Donald Trump is going to show up. And honestly, I'll say it again. I don't think you can underestimate the importance of this first debate. For Joe Biden, it's all on the line. People are convinced that he's old and he's decrepit and he's losing his mind. And if he comes in and has a bad debate, if he says stupid things, or if we get the Joe Biden that does this, well, then it's over for Joe Biden. I mean, honestly, that'll be the end of it. But I expect that what will happen is you'll be more alert, pharmaceutically enhanced. Joe Biden will be there. I don't know what they're going to give him, but they'll give him the same thing they gave him at the State of the Union, and he'll come out strong, and he'll be alert. But you know what? Here's the difference between State of the Union and what we're doing at this debate. He's not going to have a teleprompter. He's not going to have a teleprompter, and he's not going to have an earpiece in his ear. He's not going to be able to do any of that stuff. He's going to come out there, and he's going to have to wing it. And even if he's alert, he has a history of just telling whoppers and telling stories that are inaccurate and wrong. And I think that if that Joe Biden shows up, Trump needs to play it cool. Just point out very matter-of-factly where he has misspoken. And then just, try to, Trump should just not be overbearing. But, I mean, again, that thing that Alex Castellano said, I think it would be great. Oh, you've probably forgotten this, Joe, but, this is the way it was, and this is the way it is now. I mean, that's all you got to do with this guy, because you've got a great record to run on, and he doesn't. So I hope that you'll join us out at Hop Springs. And if you can't, listen right here on Super Talk 99.7 as we bring you complete debate coverage. 30 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock.
Yes, good afternoon. It's 5:30. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Sunshine, 96 degrees on Music Row, another traffic report, and the weather forecast in just a few minutes. Sources are telling ABC News that House Republicans are drafting a contempt resolution targeting the man who helped President Biden write his 2 books. Here's ABC's correspondent Stephen Portnoy. He has details.
The House Judiciary Committee says Biden ghostwriter Mark Zwanitzer has failed to comply with the subpoena the panel issued in March for documents and recordings of his interviews with the president. A contempt resolution could be passed in the committee this week to be sent to the House floor. The House has already passed a contempt resolution targeting Merrick Garland, but the Justice Department says it won't prosecute the Attorney General because President Biden has asserted executive privilege over the tapes of his interviews with Special Counsel Robert Hur.
More trouble for Tesla's electric truck. Here's Mike Dubusky.
The Tesla Cybertruck is being recalled. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says over 11,000 of the pickup trucks could have loose trim pieces, which could fly off at speed. It also notes the truck's windshield wiper could fail. Tesla says it will notify owners by mid-August if their truck is affected, and they'll replace the parts free of charge. This is the fourth Cybertruck recall since it went on sale at the end of last November.
And more vehicle recall news. If you've got a 2014 model year Ford F-150 pickup truck, well, you may want to listen to this. Some of the models of these trucks have got an issue where unexpectedly, they downshift into first gear. That's according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Naturally, that could cause a wreck, which is why Ford is now recalling more than 500,000 of these trucks. And as Brian Wilson just noted, we will indeed be airing that presidential debate this Thursday night. The debate set to air at 8 o'clock right after that special live radio event we hope you join us for at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Let me tell you about the folks over at Busy Bee HVAC and Plumbing. Right now, with temperatures in the mid to upper 90s, we hit 98 today. You may come home and you find that air conditioner is just not keeping you cool. Maybe you need to have the folks at Busy Bee come out. They can buzz right over to your hive and take care of that. Just call them at 615-775-7833. Listen, right now, because they got a special going on through the end of the month, and by the way, you just got a little time to take advantage of it because it all ends at the end of the month. The special is that they will waive the $89 dispatch fee if you need repair work on your air conditioning system. By the way, also 10% off all indoor air quality products. If you need some plumbing work done, they got some specials going through the end of the month. $500 off as select tankless water heaters, $500 off upright S&C water heaters, 15% off a whole home drain repipe, which, sometimes you need to do. If you have plumbing service that needs to be done, how about this? They will inspect your drain to make sure it's flowing good the way it's supposed to. Maybe sometimes you feel like it's not draining the way it should. They can put a camera down there and find out what's going on. $99. Water heater flush, you need to do that now and then, $79. And if you got a big project, listen, for an HVAC project with approved credit, 12 months, no interest, no payment. If it's an HVAC system with approved credit, it's 15 months. So there you go. I mean, if it's a plumbing issue, it's 15 months. HVAC is 12. There we go. All kinds of things going on there. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, your official Root Pro partner. For satisfaction guarantee, call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833 online at busybeehvac.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
It is 39 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I am Brian Wilson, and this is The Drive. Again, we're at 96 degrees. It's plenty hot outside. Take it easy. Get you home. Take care of you and your puppies and your kitties and all of your little animals to make sure that they're doing okay in this sweltering heat. I don't know, Chris. I think the yard's brown for the year.
It's not looking good, that's for sure.
The bad news is the yard is brown. The good news is I don't have to mow it because it ain't growing.
That's true. That is the plus for that. Yeah.
There is an upside. There's always a little ray of sunshine if you just know where to look. This is interesting to me, and I'm just going to read it, and then it's from the Tennessee Star. Vanderbilt University Medical Center announces a new vice president of psychiatric hospital amid the Covenant killer revelations. As you know, this program, but really the Tennessee Star, has been doing a great deal of reporting from the Audrey Hale documents and have been able to learn a lot about what was going on. And we've learned that for some 22 years, the Covenant School shooter was undergoing psychiatric help and treatment out at the Vanderbilt Psych. Well, on March 14th of this year, there was a news release put forward by VUMC that announced that the current Vanderbilt Psychiatric Hospital president, and I'll try to get this name correct, Mary Palakowski, planned to retire at the end of the fiscal year, which would have placed her retirement in their fiscal year would be September 30th. However, in the wake of the reporting by the Star about Hale and her connections to VUMC and Vanderbilt Psychiatric Hospital, a June 24th press release announces that Tanmay Mathur will be succeeding Palakowski on July 15th, adding that the current president is retiring this summer. Something happened. Something changed. The departure date has been moved up. The March announcement about Palakowski explains that she joined VUMC in 2015 as Vice President of Operations for Vanderbilt Behavioral Health, and a LinkedIn profile suggests she began serving as President of Vanderbilt Psych Hospital and Vanderbilt Behavioral Health in January of 2021. Those dates suggest that her employment, she was in a leadership position at VUMC during much of Audrey Hale's treatment, including in 2019 when the killer was referred for commitment by her initial psychologist. Hale was referred for commitment. The Star obtained all kinds of information from the Metro Nashville Police Department files and that were retrieved from the Hale family home that appear to show she participated instead of a commitment in the VUMC intensive outpatient program. So, I mean, it is interesting that there has been a change at the helm of Vandy Psych in the wake of all of these stories, and the stories are raising real questions about one thing. You know, she, according to all of the documents and everything that I have seen and everything that the Tennessee Star has reported, suggests that the people who were caring for her at Vandy Psych knew two things. She had homicidal ideations. She had suicidal ideations at times. She wanted to kill herself. At times she talked about killing her father. And yes, she had told the people who were treating her at Vandy Psych that she, from time to time, fantasized about shooting up a school somewhere. We know from some of the other documents that have been uncovered that she identified with the Columbine shooters. She felt empathy toward them. And so the question becomes, you know, if she told the people at Vandy Psych these things, if that is indeed the case, and the evidence that I've seen suggests it is the case, well, then who at Vandy reported that matter to officials? Because, you know, that kind of information, there is a requirement that you report that information to make sure that she could not do harm to herself or others. You have to take action. What happened? And is this transition, this change in leadership at Vanderbilt Psych, is it now because of some of the things that have gone on? I mean, surely if the police are conducting an investigation, and this is a question that they have, and you've got to know that Vanderbilt conducted its own internal investigation. They have been subpoenaed for documents, so they know what the police have. Have they been conducting their own investigation, and was this the end result of it? I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know. I mean, did somebody take action? Did they what was the action that they took? They didn't commit her. They kept her in an intensive outpatient program. They seem to think that was okay for someone who had ideations of killing her father and ideations of carrying out a school shooting. Did they reach out to police? Is that the other side of the story? We don't know. Did somebody actually reach out to the police, and what happened with that information? I mean, all I know is that when the documents that I have seen are around 4 months after the shooting, and they were definitely aware that the people who had treated the Covenant shooter at Vandy Psych had been told at one point or the other that she had these ideations. Tennessee Star continues to report from this cache of documents that it has. Covenant school killer Audrey Elizabeth Hale wrote in the Journal police recovered from her vehicle about training at a Nashville gun range with one of the weapons she purchased using a federal Pell Grant and that she concealed in her family home. The Tennessee Star confirmed on June 5th it obtained Hale's journal and a portion of police documents from a source familiar with the Covenant investigation, and on June 6th included a journal entry in which Hale claimed to witness an accidental firearm injury while training at Nashville Gun Range just 2 days prior to her devastating March 27th, 2023 attack. Hale wrote in the journal entry March 25th, "I will use my guns in suicide." The killer then wrote, "After the time in range, while cleaning my AR, a lady got ricocheted in the ankle and leg." A source told the Star earlier this month that at least 30 individual pieces of equipment, including 7 guns, were purchased by Hale before the attack. The cost of those items totaled around $2,600. Based on the list of weaponry provided by the source, Hale was apparently referring to her Lead Star Grunt 15 rifle, which retails for about $850. The gun range Hale claimed to have visited on March 25th is not the same gun range where she was reportedly photographed by another customer who claimed to be unnerved by the killer's presence. 99.7 WTN radio host Brian Wilson has previously reported that Hale financed her purchases of weapons, ammunition, and equipment with federal Pell Grants she received as an undergraduate student at Nassau College of Art and Design, where the killer graduated in 2022. That apparently was what her parents told police. So a lot of things that are still being investigated, and I'm telling you, we only have, I can't speak for the Star, I'll speak for myself. I only have a brief window. Now, the document that I got was a police document. I only have 2 pages of the actual journal that was found in the car, only 2 out of about 20 pages. There are some 20 journals in total that were found either in the car or at home. So, there was a lot of stuff that she has written over time. And I don't have the insight to what some of those other journals have shown. But I can tell you this, that the unique document that I got was when police went and investigated and had an interview with the parents. This is 4 months after the shooting. And at 4 months, this document, because of this interview and the transcript and the actual recordings that I have of that interview, what I found is that sometimes the police were asking the parents questions to try to fill in the things they did not know. And then sometimes they were telling the parents things that they had uncovered and wanted to know if they could add any more to it. So they had already uncovered a great deal. They had many, many, many more questions and wanted to know what the parents knew. And so that one document gives me a tremendous insight to what they knew, what they were trying to find, and what they did not know at 4 months into the investigation. What has happened since? I don't have any view of it, none whatsoever. But I can tell you that as we get into it, it certainly seems as if there are very legitimate questions that need to be asked. And some of them need to be asked of the people at Fandy. And I think it would do them well to come forward and come clean about what has happened. We still don't know what's going to happen with this lawsuit that's out there that has this whole thing tied up and has had those documents tied up for more than a year. 50 minutes now past the hour. Restoration Wellness and Med Spa, man, I'm telling you, I'm losing weight like crazy. I'm down almost 20 pounds. And Cabana Wife, man, she's losing weight like crazy with this plan that I'm on over at Restoration Wellness and Med Spa. Let the team over there help you achieve your summer goals. If you need to lose weight, they are the leaders of weight loss management in Wilson County. Just call the Restoration Wellness team today at 615-470-8124. That's 615-470-8124, or visit them at their website, restorationwellnessmedspa.com, to book a consultation today. Now, my friends over there, Carly and Jamie, will take good care of you like you're one of their own. Be a part of the 1,000 patients who have already seen life-changing results from weight loss management program. I'm one of them. Cabana Wife is one of them. You can be with them as well. Weight loss can do a lot of good for you. It can increase your energy levels, improve your quality of sleep, enhance your overall health. These plans are customized treatment plans. They don't just pull one program off the shelf and apply it to everyone. They talk about your needs, your lifestyle, your goals. So whether your goal is to lose stubborn body fat or improve your overall health, Restoration Wellness has a solution for you. Learn all about the newest technology in weight loss management. Go to restorationwellnessmedspa.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Let me tell you about the folks over at Genesis Diamond. The clock is ticking on Genesis Diamond's amazing finance offer. You have until this Sunday. That's right, on Sunday. They're to take advantage of the hottest offer of the summer. And here's what it is. 5 years, 0% entrance financing. Get in now, splurge, or maybe treat yourself, planning to propose, and get that stunning designer engagement ring starting as low as $67 a month. Or a 3-carat lab-grown diamond, a center diamond, just $99 a month. Pick any item, divide the price by 60, and that is your payment. People have driven for hours to take advantage of this, so don't put it off another minute. Buy that pre-owned Rolex or that designer ring or just a simple diamond pendant. Get the incredible price Genesis famous for. Then just spread your payments over 5 years, 0.0% interest. It's really insane. It's the smartest, easiest, and best way to buy. Nothing down, no interest for 5 years. But hurry, this incredible offer ends Sunday afternoon and will not be extended. Only at Genesis Diamonds. 2 locations, Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit. Get more details at genesisdiamonds.com.
Good evening. It is 6 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Still plenty of sunshine, 95 degrees on Music Row. Another traffic report and the latest weather forecast are on the way. So many parts of the country experiencing severe weather events. I mean, we're dealing with all this heat, as are many parts of the country. But in parts of the Midwest, it's been devastating rainfall and flooding. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz giving an update this afternoon after taking an aerial tour of parts of southern Minnesota that have been experiencing severe flood conditions. He says while the sun's come out today, the danger is still there.
We're not out of the woods yet. Water levels are still rising. We don't have the National Weather Service folks with us, but we have not reached peak water levels in many of these communities yet, and so that is going to add to this.
Staying in the Midwest, but 1 week after Louisiana's governor signed a bill mandating the 10 Commandments be displayed in public school classrooms, Oklahoma's Supreme Court weighing in on balancing religion and schools. Here's Brian Clark with more.
Oklahoma's virtual charter school board approved an application for a religious charter school. But the state Supreme Court ruled Tuesday this approval violates the state and U.S. constitutions. The majority said a charter school is a public school and must be non-sectarian or would otherwise violate the Establishment Clause. The lone dissent says excluding this school violates the Free Exercise Clause. An appeal is likely.
Moving back here to Middle Tennessee, voters in Nolensville, they will have an extra decision perhaps to make come November.
News 2 says folks in Nolensville will be asked to sign a petition at Saturday's annual Star-Spangled Celebration to get a referendum on the ballot that would allow stores to sell wine. The Tennessee Grocers and Convenience Store Association says 2 new stores are planned for the Nolensville area, a Kroger and a Publix, to open in the next year and a half. But they won't be able to sell wine unless voters approve a referendum. Supporters say it would benefit the town through increased sales tax revenue and attract more retailers. Just under 600 signatures are needed to get it before voters in November. Ken Weaver, WTN News.
And a big high five to the Tennessee Volunteer baseball team securing their first ever title in the Men's College World Series last evening. The Volunteers and the Texas A&M Aggies meeting in Game 3 last night. The Vols taking the game 6-5. Here's Vols head coach Tony Vitello with some of his post-game comments.
Just very surreal. Hard to center yourself, which is a good thing. Being lost in the moment, I guess. Nothing too intelligent to say, other than the first thing to say is I hope the fans that have turned this into an insane party, an insane event, got the series that they wanted and that they deserved.
And quickly, just a reminder, we will be airing the presidential debate this Thursday night on Super Talk. The debate set to air at 8 o'clock. That will happen right after the special live radio event with all of the talk personalities here on Super Talk. That happens in Murfreesboro Thursday at Hop Springs. We hope you'll be there. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather are on the way. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
All right, good evening, everyone. 7 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock, hour number 4 of the drive on this 25th day of June, and it's still hot. It's still really hot. It's still 95 degrees at B&A. I mean, I got up this morning, and I had to get up early to run some errands. Gabbana wife rolling me out of the sack early today to say, we have things to do. Let's go. And so I got up, but it was beautiful this morning. Early this morning, it was like 70 degrees, very pleasant. And then I went and ran one of my errands. By the time I came out, not so pleasant anymore. We hit 98 today. That's the unofficial high out at B&A. And we're just 3 degrees below that now. So it's just plenty hot, folks. Take it easy. Take care of your little critters, would you please? They don't do well in the heat. I got a lot of stuff to cover here. Let's see. D.C. Bar has suspended Hunter Biden. He can no longer practice law in the District of Columbia. Not that I think he wants to, but he can't. The Washington, D.C. Bar Association today suspended Hunter Biden according to justthenews.com, following his conviction earlier this month on felony gun charges over in Delaware. In a filing, the D.C. bar ordered the suspension according to rule number 11, 10C, which requires such actions be taken after a member is found guilty of a serious crime. The rule also required the bar to immediately refer the member for a formal disciplinary proceeding. It was published Tuesday morning in the District of Columbia Court of Appeals e-filing system. The suspension is not permanent and may be reversed following the outcome of the disciplinary proceedings from the Board of Professional Responsibility. As you know, the jury found Biden guilty on 3 federal charges on June 11th, which include making a false statement on a gun application and being in possession of a firearm while a drug user. The first son has not yet been sentenced, but now faces up to 25 years in prison and a fine of $750,000, according to court filings. However, first-time offenders rarely get the maximum penalty. Yeah, I look back at that trial and I'm baffled. I mean, look, I'm no lawyer, but I mean the facts of that case were pretty evident. Everybody knew what the facts were of that case when they started that trial. They knew that they had the documents. They knew that they had very incriminating evidence that indeed Hunter Biden was still out there doing drugs while he was purchasing this weapon, and that he lied on that form. I mean, that's pretty cut and dried. Why in the world then would you take that case to trial and risk the possibility he could actually do some jail time? Well, he won't do as much as the maximum allows, but he could be given a year in prison. It could happen, a year or more. Why would you risk that when you could have had a plea deal? You could have worked out some kind of plea agreement and perhaps saved all of the sort of unsavory testimony that came during that trial about your lifestyle and the things that you were doing, which didn't help you and didn't help your dad as he runs for re-election. Why did you take that case to trial? And have you learned anything? Maybe you want to try to not take the tax case to trial, which will be coming up right in the middle of the election. I mean, right in the smack dab middle of it, where we're going to hear more about your unsavory behavior and your blatantly grotesque lifestyle. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but nonetheless. By the way, they have appealed this. But therefore, they filed an appeal and then they retracted it. And now they filed another appeal. I don't know what they think they're going to accomplish, but nonetheless, he can no longer practice law in the District of Columbia. A judge on Tuesday modified Donald Trump's gag order, that's today, freeing the former president to comment publicly about witnesses and jurors in the hush money criminal trial that led to his felony conviction. As you know, sentencing is scheduled for July 11th. The timing on that, not political at all. The 11th is 4 days before the GOP convention. Judge Juan M. Merchan's ruling just days before Trump's debate on Thursday clears the presumptive Republican nominee again to go on the attack against his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, porn actor Stormy Daniels, and other witnesses. Trump was, as you know, convicted on May 30th, 34 counts of falsifying business records. Trump's lawyers had urged Merchan to lift the gag order completely, arguing there was nothing to justify continued restrictions on Trump's First Amendment rights after the trial's conclusion. Jonathan Turley was one of those who was a little baffled as to why there's any gag order remaining.
And so it still is this disconnect as to why we're even talking about a gag order at this stage. It's clear the case is still before him. Okay, the sentencing hasn't occurred. I get that. But to not acknowledge that this is a presidential campaign and this is one of the big issues in that presidential campaign, I think is really nonsense. That the judge could have gone further than he did. I think it's good that he lifted it in part. I think that he recognizes that. I don't know why he didn't do that right after the verdict came in.
Well, I mean, I don't either. But one way or the other, it's been partially lifted now. You know, honestly, I hope he doesn't go and take advantage of the gag order being lifted. What does that serve him at this point? And again, I don't think it's the right thing to take into the debate, that's for sure. As you know, there is a big Supreme Court case that is yet to be handed down by the highest court in the land with regard to immunity, presidential immunity. From thehill.com, the memos are, they have a thing called the memo, and they say liberal fears build over Supreme Court Trump immunity decision. Speculation is building about the possibility of the Supreme Court delivering a favorable ruling to former President Trump as he claims immunity from prosecution. Even the current conservative majority court would balk at finding that all presidents have unconstrained immunity, most experts believe. But some kind of caveat-laden ruling that tosses the arguments about Trump's legal exposure back to lower courts remains a strong possibility. And that scenario is enough to alarm many liberals. Eric Holder, well, there's a name from the past, who served as Attorney General in the Obama administration, sounded a warning during a recent interview with Nicole Wallace of MSNBC. Now, we're listening to Democrats talking among themselves. Holder alluded to the prospect of the justices ruling that a president can be prosecuted for private acts, but not for official acts undertaken in the course of his duties. The Trump case pertains to an alleged offense in his attempt to overturn the 2020 election. A mixed ruling would mean lower courts would be asked to adjudicate which of Trump's actions fit into either official or non-official categories. In practical terms, such a process would almost surely extend the case beyond November's election. If Trump wins the election, he could simply instruct the Justice Department to abandon its prosecution of him, a move that would elicit howls of protest. Howls. Oh, well, okay. Look, liberals are worried about this. I got this thing from Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, she was asked by the guys over at CNN if she trusts the Supreme Court.
I mean, do you have confidence in the Supreme Court?
No, I think they've gone rogue. It's most unfortunate.
They've gone rogue. See, what they're doing now is they are laying the groundwork in case there's any kind of favorable ruling that helps the president. Well, they've gone rogue. It's the Supreme Court. There's going to be a lot of the left attacking the Supreme Court. Of course, they're not going to like everything that comes out of a 6-3 conservative court. I mean, come on. By the way, it didn't have to be a 6-3 conservative court. It could have been a 5-4 conservative court if only Ruth Bader Ginsburg had bowed out and not tried to stick in there a little longer. And then Trump got to replace not 1, not 2, but 3 Supreme Court justices. That's why I am almost certain that at the end of the month, when all of these rulings are out, that Sonia Sotomayor is going to tender her resignation. I think she will. Because, I mean, they don't want to have what would it be, a 7-2 conservative court if Trump wins? So I think that's going to be real interesting to see what happens there. Watch the high court. Now, look, here's a little tidbit for you. High court normally finishes up their business by the end of June. Well, this is the 25th, the 26th, the 27th. The end of the month is on a Sunday, so it would mean that between Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, some of these big decisions could come down. Now, it is possible, because sometimes the high court does extend the release of certain announcements after the end of June into early July. Maybe they want to put this one down just before the 4th of July holiday. Wouldn't that be something? You know, that's a Washington trick. Try to do something that you don't really want people to look at too closely right as you're going on a big 3-day weekend. 4th of July is going to be a big holiday weekend for a lot of people, so be a 4-day weekend, wouldn't it? I think that's the way it falls, yeah. All right, so anyway, I would expect probably that these big decisions will come down in a flurry tomorrow, Thursday, the day of the debate, and then Friday. So if it's tomorrow, I won't be with you. Matt Murphy will be here because I've got to go do a little doctor's thing, and I'll be back on Thursday for the debate coverage out there at Hop Springs. All right. Here's another thing that the High Court is considering right now, and this is a big one. You've heard me talk about this. I'm very excited about this particular case. Supreme Court, this is thehill.com. Supreme Court will soon issue a decision that will claw back the powers, that could call back the powers of federal agencies and expand the power of judges. The decision, which may come down this week, would limit the agency's authority to issue any number of consumer, workplace, or environmental protections. During oral arguments, the court's conservative majority appeared inclined to at least pare down a decades-old precedent that tells judges to defer to agencies' interpretation when the law is ambiguous, and sometimes even when it's not. In practice, that's called the Chevron deference, named for the court's 1984 decision in Chevron USA versus Natural Resources Defense Council, has given both Democrat and Republican administrations a degree of latitude in making decisions. If the court decides to trim it back fully or fully overrule it, judges will be able to substitute their own interpretation of the law in more cases and may be more likely to strike down existing agency rules. I think the court is more likely to limit the doctrine and maybe give a long laundry list of reasons why Chevron deference would not apply, said Emily Hammond, a law professor at George Washington University. If the court gets rid of the doctrine, then we will have a lot of questions about what kind of litigation will ensue, and I predict that a lot of particularly industry groups may bring challenges against environmental health, safety regulations that have been upheld under Chevron. See, the Chevron doctrine and the law simply says if the different agencies interpret a law as being a little ambiguous or vague when it comes down from lawmakers on Capitol Hill, signed into law by president, if the law is vague, then they get to interpret how it should be carried out. And that if there's a challenge to the way that they're carrying it out, that there should be great deference given to what the regulators came up with, not what Congress came up with or what Congress meant. So I've always thought that the Chevron deference, the Chevron doctrine, was a badly decided case back in 1984, and I'm hoping that the High Court will trim it back dramatically so that once again, we don't have to be at the mercy of bureaucrats. Bureaucrats should not be making law, and that's essentially what they do when they interpret the law and tell you this is how we're going to interpret the law and this is how we're going to enforce it. It means that every time you get a Republican in office, they look at it one way. Democrat comes in office, it's constantly shifting. And it's very difficult, and I'm telling you, I think that the regulators have had way too much power, and I hope that they knock everything back a couple of notches and do something about the Chevron doctrine. It is 21, make it 22 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. The Wellness Institute of Nashville. I was down there today with Cabana Wife. We're both getting sort of, some touch-up treatments because it's been a while since I've been there and starting to feel a little back pain. And so I felt like it was time to start again with the non-invasive spinal decompression. And Dr. Kevin and Dr. Kevin Mitchell and Dr. Ashley down there, good people. They're really nice. He runs a state-of-the-art facility, the very latest in high-tech equipment, and they offer the very latest in non-surgical procedures. If you have back pain, there's really only two things you can do. You can try surgery or you can try non-invasive spinal decompression. Why wouldn't you want to give non-invasive spinal decompression a try before you undergo the knife? I'm telling you, I already feel better having gone down there and undergone a treatment today. And they offer half off right now spinal decompression treatments and half off the KT knee machine, which is sort of like spinal decompression for the knee. And if you're a first-time patient, you can get a real bargain here. You get an exam, a consultation, an x-ray if you need one, and your first treatment, all of that, $23. I'm Brian Wilson, and I put my stamp of approval on the Wellness Institute of Nashville. So call them today, 615-246-5009. Learn more at painisbad.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Coming up, the cause of last year's train derailment in Ohio has been determined. We'll have that story. We'll also have today's closing money news. Again, that's at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 27 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. Good evening, everybody. Still a steamy, oh, man. It's gone up 97 degrees outside at B&A. Whoo! I tell you what. It's a scorcher today, folks.
Can we go ahead and skip to fall? I'm ready.
Yeah, you ready? No, not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet, no.
All right.
Lawmakers are calling for an investigation after thousands of Tennessee voters are asked to prove citizenship before the election. This is from WKRN. Now, I disagree with the way this is written. I'll tell you right now, but apparently what it boils down to is about 14,000 letters were sent out. The letter was sent to a select group of Tennesseans from the state coordinator of elections, Mark Goins. The letter reads that their voter information matches with an individual who may not have been a U.S. citizen at a time they got their driver's license or their ID card. All right. And so the Democrats are losing their mind over this, saying, well, it's voter intimidation. No, they have sent a letter to, I did some math on this, and I'm pretty sure I carried my one, and I'm correct, and I got everything right. I'm pretty sure that about 0.2%, 0.2 of 1% got this letter. 0.2%. And they looked at them and said, well, we have some disagreement in our records about whether or not you should be voting in this election because you have to be a U.S. citizen. And immediately, State Representative John Ray Clemens says, oh, this is voter intimidation. They're trying to intimidate the voters of Tennessee. Well, there's 7 million people here, and they sent out 14,000 letters. You do the math. It gives the impression, falsely, he says, that there's another procedural step they must jump through before they can vote in the upcoming elections. Now, apparently, look, I can understand that if you were, somebody who went through the process and you are now a citizen of Tennessee, it might be a little bit of an inconvenience for you to have to answer this question. And by the way, the letter also sends a strong reminder about harsh penalties if you are voting illegally, such as jail time and $5,000 fine. But Clemens says they don't need the coordinator of elections sending them a letter outlining the criminal law and the penalty for unlawful voters and implying they have to mail in something verifying their citizenship in the upcoming weeks. Well, I just respectfully disagree. I don't think it's intimidation. I think it is a reminder and an appropriate reminder as we head into elections that we have a law in this state and we've got some documents that suggest, well, you might not be, might not have been a citizen when you went to get your driver's license, which is what you use when you go to vote. And so the Democrats are screaming for an investigation. I think, look, what are they afraid of? It is true. People who are not citizens should not vote in this coming election. And the state of Tennessee is going to be, making sure that the voter rolls are accurate. And so they're just raising it now early, giving you time to work through any issues. And by the way, reminding you that if you have plans to vote illegally, there's a law in Tennessee which says you can't do that. Is that voter intimidation? I don't look at it as voter intimidation. I think it's giving people advice about what the law says. I totally disagree. The coordinator of elections wrote a letter which says, in part, we are legally verifying our voter rolls to ensure they are correct and current. Our office wants every eligible citizen to register to vote and to vote in Tennessee elections. Tennessee law requires my office to compare the voter rolls with the Tennessee Department of Safety and Security Department of Safety database to ensure non-U.S. citizens are not registered to vote in the state of Tennessee. The responses from citizens wanting to correct their information with us has been overwhelmingly positive by providing an opportunity to those whose eligibility is in question to correct any outdated information on our voter roll information will be up to date and the votes of eligible Tennessee voters will be counted. It also states the information received will be securely stored. I don't have a problem with that. Got a little carried away. Sorry, Jay. It's 32 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7.
Hey, good evening. It's 6:32, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Still, it's sunny, and gee whiz, we're down to 93 degrees here on Music Row. Yeah, still a scorcher. A complete forecast and a traffic report are on the way. The National Transportation Safety Board says it found multiple failures led to last year's fiery train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. A faulty trackside sensor failed to detect a rail bearing that caught on fire. Board member Michael Graham, he read some more errors that were discovered by the investigation at a news briefing earlier today.
The National Transportation Safety Board determines that the probable cause of the derailment involving Norfolk Southern Railway train 32N was the failure of the L1 bearing on the 23rd rail car in the consist that overheated and caused the axle to separate.
Now let's get to your closing money news for the day with Dave Packer.
From ABC News, Wall Street Now.
It's a seesaw market. The last 3 sessions saw AI chipmaker NVIDIA fall nearly 13%, dragging the Nasdaq lower relative to the Dow. Today, that divergence reversed itself, with NVIDIA shares gaining about 6.5% today, pushing the tech-heavy Nasdaq up about 220 points. The first gain for the index in 4 days, this while the Dow fell 299 points. And the S&P 500 gaining 21. Using the Earth's heat to make electricity, the utility Southern California Edison announcing it will buy electricity from Houston-based Fervo Energy. The California utility making the largest geothermal power development in the U.S., 400 megawatts of clean energy from the Earth, enough for some 400,000 homes. Canada has got a very familiar-sounding inflation problem. The announcement today of a surprise spike in inflation that could keep the Canadian Central Bank from any interest rate cuts anytime soon. The price of goods and services in Canada rising 3% in May from a year earlier.
And just another quick programming reminder now. We don't want you to miss the presidential debate this Thursday night that will be airing here on Super Talk. If you can't get to a TV, we've got you covered. The debate is set to air at 8 o'clock right after a special live radio event and watch party at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. We'll hope to see you there. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Let me tell you, if I could, about the folks over at USS, United Structural Systems. You know, look, this is the time of year where you want to think about having to come out and do a little check on, make sure your foundation is in order. If you've got cracking bricks or cracks in the walls or doors or windows that stick, and you know all the signs, drywall separating, stair-step cracks and masonry mortar joints, any of that stuff, why don't you, call them out and have them look at what you got and see if you can get things going on, get things going in the right direction. And make sure that everything is good and sound. Concrete leveling is another thing. Do you have settling sidewalks or driveways, sinking slabs or patio steps? Are your porch steps tilted? Has your sidewalk or patio shifted somewhat? Sidewalks or patio problems like that can create a trip hazard, and uneven concrete pool deck can also create a trip hazard. Why don't you let the folks at USS come out and use their polylift system to put everything back up square, plumb, and level? No change in the color of the concrete, no damage to grass. Work completed actually very quickly. You can walk on it immediately, drive on it in 30 minutes, and I'm telling you, it's cheaper to do that than it is to actually replace the concrete. Raise it, don't replace it. I'm telling you, the folks at USSTN are good people. United Structural Systems, 615-488-7855. Learn more by going to their website, ussstn.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
$40 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Good evening. It's still steamy 90. I've got it at the B&A. It's still 97 degrees. Oh, man. It's going to be, I'm going to take a nice, slow, I'm not going to, get out there and get all sweaty as I move from the studio to the house.
Yeah, no AC on your commute home, right?
No, there's no AC whatsoever on my commute. I mean, I have to just go out there and deal with it for about 50 feet.
Wow, what a guy.
I know. It's hard being me. Hey, listen, I just want to say again that I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I'll just be honest with you. I don't believe in having any secrets. I'm doing some things with the Dermy Doc because of my ill-spent youth, which was devoid of sunblock. I mean, I lived in West Texas. I was outside all the time. We went to the lake on a regular basis. My dad had a little boat. We were always there, and we didn't know anything about sunblock. And now, all these years later, I'm paying the price for it. And so the Dermy Doc and I are having yet another round tomorrow. I've already had one round. Stitches come out of that tomorrow. I don't know. I don't think you can see it. It doesn't show up very well on Super Talk TV, but it's right along like the earpiece to my glasses. There's a pretty good gash where they cut me open and sewed me back up. So I'm going to do this tomorrow. I got a little thing on my hand, got to be worked on. So I won't be here tomorrow. Matt Murphy will be here, but I will be back for the event Thursday out at Hop Springs. I'll be back in good order, and we'll have a grand old time when everybody shows up out there. So, again, thank you, Matt Murphy, for allowing me to take this one day and go get taken care of this stuff that, you put these things off a lot longer than you should. By the way, use sunblock, wear a hat, okay? I mean, I don't want to lecture you, but I'm telling you, if you can avoid my mistake, then, you won't have to go through the things that I'm going through.
But how am I going to get that golden bronze tan?
No, you do not want that. Oh. You want to look pale and pasty is what you want.
Check.
I'm telling you right now, you think it's hot here. Believe me, I have been down on the Rio Grande River in the middle of summer in August, and it is unbearably hot. And security forces in the Mexican desert near the U.S. border on high alert following the discovery of a deceased 45-year-old, likely from heat stroke. Apparently, the deceased man had been abandoned by his trafficker, who later buried him in the desert. Upon the family's request, the trafficker disclosed the body's location. During the search, authorities found 6 other migrants, one showing sign of dehydration. It's the second death from dehydration in the Chihuahuan desert within a week. Yes, they have a desert named after a small dog. Temperatures in the area have exceeded 40 degrees Celsius, which comes out to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm telling you, it's brutal. You're right at sea level there, and it is hot. So anyway, once again, Biden's open borders have put people at risk. I remember as a kid, my dad used to have crews that worked out in West Texas in the oil field on different projects, and a lot of times they'd be on ranches down in that part of the world. The thing that you found out is it wasn't uncommon to find dead people in the desert. And it was people trying to come across the border. They didn't have enough water. They got lost. They got turned around, or maybe sent down the wrong path by their guides. And the next thing you know, they die of dehydration, and it's a horrible way to die. So it was not uncommon. I remember one time one of the crews found a dead guy, and they called the rancher, and the rancher came out and said, "Oh yeah, I saw that last week." Wow. Apparently it was a very common thing. See, I need to call the sheriff about that. You're right. And just, of course, it was at a little bit different time. But this is what you are putting people in. They're out there at these incredibly difficult conditions. And the coyotes don't care one whit about their health or well-being. This was astonishing to me. A story that I found, where is it? I think it's Associated Press, I believe. No, maybe it's not. Washington Times. And it talks about how much people are paying the coyotes to have people bring them across the border. What, if you had to guess, guy shows up and said, "I want to be taken across the border." How much do you think that they might ask them to pony up?
10 grand.
That's what I would have thought, maybe 10 grand.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think we heard something the other day where somebody said they'd been asked for 50 grand. And I went, wow. Oh, that's not even close to what they're being charged now. When agents tracked down, sounded like any other border chase, a Ford F-150 took off down a dirt road in southeastern Arizona, fleeing Border Patrol agents, then finally ditched the truck in an orchard, and everyone ran off. When agents tracked down the driver and the migrants who fled the truck, they got their surprise. Jose Alberto Lopez Santiago, one of 3 Mexican migrants who had been in the F-150, said he was charged $80,000 to be smuggled into the U.S., a day after that June 9 incident. Border Patrol agents in southwest Arizona chased down a Toyota Sienna packed with 12 people who turned out to be illegal immigrants from Mexico and Guatemala. One of them, Maria Juarez Lopez, told agents she paid $50,000 to a coordinator in Agua Prieta, Mexico, to be smuggled into San Diego. Last week, agents working near Sononita, in the middle of Arizona's border with Mexico, pulled 2 illegal immigrants out of the trunk of a Chevrolet Malibu in 100-degree heat. Don't you know, that was pleasant. One of the migrants from Guatemala said he had already paid 50,000 quetzals. I don't know what that is, but apparently it's a foreign currency, and owed 725,000 more when he got to Mississippi, which works out in U.S. currency to about $100,000. Wow. These are the rates that in the past were paid by immigrants from far afield places such as China and Vietnam. Now they're being paid by anyone trying to get across the border. Before Mr. Biden's June 4th announcement, Mexican migrants, caught as they were, 1,000, maybe 10,000, in some cases 13,000. But now it's gone up dramatically. It's a business, says Emilio Gonzalez, who ran U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services in the Bush administration. The border crisis is a business and everybody's making money on it except the U.S. taxpayer. It's a human trafficking business, and the Biden administration is the biggest supporter of this human trafficking business. And all of that money, all of it, is going to the coyotes and the cartels. We are enriching the cartels. I mean, if they're getting $50 to $100,000 for every migrant that is now being brought across the border, and they say, well, you know, times have changed, and the Biden has cracked down on border crossings, and so now we have to charge you more. Well, there are people who will pay it. Wow, just unbelievable. So that's how much it's costing those folks to come across. The $80,000 and $100,000 price tags are so high that some experts question whether the figures are real. But I don't know why would you lie about something like that?
Makes you wonder, though, where these people are getting all this money.
Or they don't have it, and then they are into the cartel for the rest of it, for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
That's probably what it is. They say, well, okay, you don't have it now, but we're going to make you pay it off over time. And, you know, they have people all over the country who can enforce it. Just unbelievable. I'm telling you, what happens on the border right now is so tragic, from a humanitarian standpoint, from an economic standpoint, and really what just hurts me, and just I'm pained by it. It is that this is being done for crass political reasons. They don't care about the well-being of these people. They don't care that they're being charged $100,000. They don't care that it's enriching the coyotes and the cartels, and that they're making money hand over fist by every person who comes across. All they care about is getting people through the border so that they can become voters one day when they find a pathway to citizenship. And that is what this is all about. Politics. 50 minutes now past the hour.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.